but found. The aura of the person who has broken through to the strongest level in front of him is still growing after stepping into the first level of the strongest. In a blink of an eye, another step forward. Just entering the Xian realm, is the second level? The three of them looked at each other, and they all saw horror in each other's eyes. It's not over yet? Soon, they discovered that the purple-clothed young man sitting cross-legged in the void was vibrating with cracks in the surrounding space, making him look more ferocious, and then the aura of the young man increased further. Xian third level. The three gasped, which also meant that the strength of the person in front of them had completely surpassed them at this moment. Even, the three of them teamed up, and it is absolutely impossible for them to be opponents of each other. Our rain god realm. Are we going to turn around this time? One of the three, an old man with the appearance of a strong man, suddenly brightened his eyes, and his old face twitched because of excitement. The other two also looked excited at this time. It's so rare. In their rain god realm, there are very few Xian third-level existences that have ever appeared in history. Now, contemporary, is there finally another one? Only, their excitement did not last long. When they discovered that the aura of the purple-clothed youth was further vibrating, and then the strength of the whole person seemed to climb to a new height. The three of them looked at each other again, and then they all looked dull. This is the fourth level of Xian? Is this someone from our rain god realm? At this moment, they questioned. Just because, in their small realm attached to one of the 18 realms in China, looking at the past history, the strongest existence that has ever appeared is the third-level Xian. There has never been a fourth-order Xian. Theoretically speaking, they are subordinate small realms, and when the power of the realm is often extracted, it is almost impossible to give birth to the existence of the fourth-level Xian. But now it appeared. Then, there is only one possibility. This is someone from outside. People from the outside world happen to come to their rain god realm to seek a breakthrough. Soon, the three of them were dumbfounded. At the same time, further confirmation. The person in front of him is definitely someone from the outside world. Just because the other party's aura has risen again. Xian 5th level. It's outrageous. Just entered the Xian, and stepped into the 5th level of the Xian. Not to mention the middle 18 realms, this kind of existence, even if it is placed in the upper 3 realms, is it a monster among geniuses? Just entering Xian, he is a half-step world venerable, a half-sage from the outside world. Who is he? The pride of the upper 3 realms? At this moment, all three of them were shocked. It's not like they haven't seen the existence of the 5th level Xian. The world attached to their rain god realm has the existence of the 5th level Xian. There is even a 6th order Xian. However, as soon as they broke through to Xian, they stepped into the existence of the 5th level, which was the first time they had seen it in their lives. However, what shocked the three of them even more was still behind. Under their eyes, the young man in purple was suddenly shocked by the cracks in the dense space around him, and then all of them turned into nothingness. A terrifying black hole in space continued to spread, covering the young man in purple, but it didn't affect him in any way. The turbulent flow of space raged, slapping on the body of the purple-clothed youth, but finally merged into his body strangely. Bursts of even more terrifying breaths raged. What's more, it made them feel extremely depressed, and they couldn't help avoiding it, not daring to get too close. At this moment, they have a strong sense of suffocation. This is the 6th level of Xian? A world-respected powerhouse? Just entered Xian. Is it a world venerable? Even in the upper 3 realms, looking at their past history, such existences are probably rare, right? There shouldn't be such an existence in the contemporary upper 3 realms. You said he. Could it be that Duanling Tian? Duanling Tian? Hiss. You mean, he is the high-ranking deity, Duanling Tian, who passed through the taboo realm and heavenly calamity in front of Lord Feng Qingyang, who was notified by the Tao of Heaven. Yes, that's him. It's really possible. When the three of them vaguely guessed the identity of the purple-clothed youth in front of them, they were inexplicably shocked. The great movement here has also attracted the attention of many powerful people in the nearby realm. In one of the 18 realms that was vassal of the rain god realm, 2 strong men broke out of the realm, like 2 gods, coming towards the rain god realm, majestic and majestic. Chapter 45-51. The Yushan realm is one of the 18 realms in China, and it is also the realm that rules the rain god realm. This moment, the 2 people who walked out of the Yushan realm are the 2 strongest 5th-level existences in the Yushan realm, the two half-step supreme beings. The Rain God realm is a small realm under their Yushan realm, very close to the Yushan realm. Because no matter whether it is the upper 3 realms or the middle 18 realms, they all take the nearby realms into their own command, draw the power of the realms at any time to strengthen the realm, and maintain the life of the realm. That's right. Any realm in the 10,000 realms has a span and will age. If there is no supplement of new realm power, it will continue to age. Until the spiritual energy of the world inside is exhausted, the cultivation resources are getting scarcer, and there are fewer and fewer strong people. Many of today's small worlds once had a glorious past, but more or less due to some reasons, they gradually fell into decline or even collapsed. There are such weird spatial fluctuations in the Rain God realm. This breath is unusual. The Rain God realm, a half-step world master was born? These two people, as the half-step world venerables of the Jade Mountain realm, entered the land of no man like the Rain God realm, and they had no worries at all. After all, this is just a subsidiary realm under their Yushan realm. It's no different from your own back garden. Soon, the two came to the scene. My Lord Qiuming. Meet Lord Hashan. When the two arrived at the scene, the 3 most powerful men in the Rain God realm also came to their senses one after another, and respectfully saluted the two in front of them. For them, the two are no strangers. Have seen it a few times before. The 6th level? Boundary prestige? However, Qiuming and Hishan, who were present at the scene at this time, ignored the 3 great powers of the Rain God realm. Their eyes all fell on the purple figure in the distance, and they all took a breath of air. 2 adults. At this time, one of the most powerful members of the Rain God realm respectfully said, "This lord is the strongest in our Rain God realm that we have just stepped into." In a word, Qiuming and Hishan turned pale with astonishment, and then they all looked at him. After further confirmation from the 3 people in the Rain God realm, and after hearing the speculation of the 3, they looked at the purple figure again with a little more awe. If he is really Duan Ling Tianj, this 6th level, I am afraid it is not his end. I really didn't expect that there would be 2 existences who survived the Taboo Realm's catastrophe. That's right. Lord Feng Qingyang is now personally sitting outside the Tongtian Tower, so that the land outside the world, and even the saints and world venerables of the 10,000 realms, have no way to enter the Tongtian Tower to participate in the Heavenly Dao experience and seize the Heavenly Dao talisman. I think if possible, we should make friends with this Pan Panj. Maybe after the friendship is over, if you and I have the opportunity to step into the 6th level in the future, they are willing to let us go and let us try to enter the Tongtian Tower. Friendship? The other party may not be willing to talk to us. While guessing Duan Lingshan's identity, the two also stood aside and watched quietly. It is not a grand event that can be seen from the 6th level of Xion to the 7th level. After they met this time, they will not know if they will have the opportunity to witness the birth of another strong 7th level Xion in their lifetime. Under the eyes of 5 people, the huge black hole in space continued to spread, causing the 5 people to keep retreating. And the young man in purple looked so dazzling in the black hole of space, like the only star hanging there in the night sky, extremely bright. At this moment, if the space black hole is compared to the world, then he is the only one left in the whole world. He sat there cross-legged, as if thinking about it forever. The aura on his body was still vibrating, as if hitting some kind of bottleneck. Boom. Rumble. As the black hole in space spread further, all the mountains, rivers in a large area nearby were destroyed, sucked into the black hole in space, and turned into nothingness. Was completely obliterated. Suddenly, the purple-clothed youth who had been sitting there cross-legged suddenly stood up. His body can only be regarded as slightly taller than the average person. But when standing up, it gives people a strong sense of oppression. The 5 most powerful people in the vicinity feel the deepest. And then, he opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, a terrifying power raged from his body, as if the power that had been accumulated for a long time was vented at this moment. Wah! The terrible airwave raged, and even the 3 most powerful men in the Rain God realm were blown away by this force, like a rootless duckweed. The 2 strongest men in the Yushan realm barely stood still, but their faces were pale, and their eyes were full of shock and fear. This is breakthrough. The 2 looked at each other, and both saw the shock in each other's eyes. In their Yushan world, there is the existence of the 6th level Xion. They have also seen each other compete with the same level outsiders. At that time, they felt that they were very powerful. But in front of the oppressive feeling brought by the person in front of them, it is like the difference between a child and an adult. The gap is too big. Duan Ling Tian didn't care about the surrounding situation. Even if he already knew about the existence of the 5 powerhouses nearby, he didn't worry about them daring to shoot him, unless they wanted to die. Finally, we've made it to this point. Feeling the power of complete transformation in the body, it is completely different from before. It can even be said to be a world of difference. After all, before today, he was just a high-ranking deity. 5 elements gods. In a thought, Duan Ling Tian raised his hand, and suddenly 5 forces of different colors swept across the sky, and then transformed into a human form in the void. There are men and women, old and young. It is the 5 element gods who have transformed into humans. Thank you, sir, for your kindness in shaping the body. The 5 elements gods used to be like elders in front of Duan Ling Tian. But now, after being transformed into a human being, facing Duan Ling Tian, who has stepped into the realm of the strongest, and is still at the 7th level of the strongest, they all bowed to thank each other, and their voices were full of humility. No way. Today is different. That little guy in the past has now grown into one of the 2 most powerful beings in this world. He is also the 2nd Xeon 7th order existence after the historical cutoff. And at the same time when the 5 elements gods bowed down to thank them. Above the sky, thunder rumbled. Striking. And then, a somewhat familiar golden text of the Tao of Heaven also appeared in front of the eyes of everyone in the 10,000 realms, and even in places beyond the realms. Congratulations to Duan Ling Tian from the Nishan realm. After surviving the taboo realm, he successfully broke through and became the 2nd strongest existence of the 7th level after the historical barrier, surpassing Jesuan and saints. Chapter 45-52. Finally caught up with Master's footsteps. Looking up at the Tian Dao characters on the horizon, Duan Ling Tian smiled calmly. Then, he looked at the 5 elements gods and said, "Next, I don't have much need for you. You have also shaped your body now, and you can live independently like normal life. Go live your life. In the future, if there is anything that cannot be solved, as long as it does not violate my personal principles, as long as it is something I can solve, you can come to me. I will make a move. Each person, limited to 3 times. He made a move out of affection, not out of duty. He was also worried that the 5 element gods would come to him for big and small matters in the future. Therefore, the number of times is limited. Of course, if they really needed help, even if it had been more than 3 times, and he felt that he needed to take action, he would do the same. 3 times, just to let them know, Duan Lingshan's shot was not cheap. He always remembers the help of several people who helped him during his journey. You have been with me for many years, my principles you should be very clear. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, the gods of the 5 elements bowed to thank each other. Thank you, my lord. Go. Duan Ling Tian waved his hand and said. The 5 element gods, after he stepped into the strongest realm, were able to shape their bodies because they also had the strength of the strongest realm. And neither is weak. After all, they themselves are the gods of the 5 elements, and now they are reborn after plastic surgery, and they are the bodies of the 5 elements. In the future, as long as you work hard, you will step into the extreme of your own 5 elements, and it will only be a matter of time before you achieve minor perfection and great perfection. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Except for the gentle woman transformed into Xueqi, the other 4 5-element gods all left like ghosts the moment Duan Ling Tian finished speaking. With the strongest strength they can cross space, shuttle space turbulence like walking on flat ground. Sister Xueqi, you art. Seeing the woman left behind, Duan Ling Tian was a little puzzled. The woman, Xueqi, heard the words, and smiled leisurely. I'm like them. I've been with that tree of life for many years, and I've long been used to being by her side. To me, she is no different from my mother. Now, although I have been reborn, I don't have any desire for the outside world. I just want to stay by her side and be with her. I hope the adults can fulfill it. In the past, Xueqi always called Duan Ling Tian Xiaotian, but now when he directly addresses adults, his tone is also very respectful. Hearing what Xueqi said, Duan Ling Tian shook his head and smiled. Sister Xueqi, you should still call me Xiaotian. Since you want to stay, then stay. The sacred tree of life stood in the small world inside his body, and it became more vigorous as he stepped into the Xeon with all his cultivation. Just now, following the request of the other party, he opened a gap in the small world in his body, allowing the other party to watch the Xueqi leave. Unexpectedly, Xueqi stayed for her. Don't dare. Jingshi Shenxue was a little apprehensive. Your Excellency, you are now one of the strongest people who have appeared after the severance of history. You are not the previous high-ranking gods. Duan Lingtian only sighed inwardly about the distance between Jingshi Shenxue and himself, and then did not persist. Let her go. Seeing the pure world Shenxue return to the small world in his body, sitting cross-legged under the divine tree of life, it seems that the breath of the divine tree of life is getting stronger. This scene also made Duan Lingtian secretly amazed. After regaining his senses, he shut down the small world in his body that had already undergone earth-shaking changes with a single thought, and then looked at the few strongest people present. Following Duan Lingshan's gaze, the 3 people from the rain god realm knelt down in the void. Congratulations, my lord, for stepping into the 7th level of Xian. Congratulations, my lord. When the 3 of them knelt down to Duan Lingtian, the 2 Xian 5th ranks in Yushan realm originally wanted to bow down to congratulate Duan Lingtian, but now all 3 of them knelt down and secretly called them dog-licking at the same time. The 2 of them also knelt down. Hashan, Jade Mountain, congratulations, my lord, for stepping into the 7th step. Qiao Ming from the Jade Mountain realm, congratulations, my lord, for stepping into the 7th step. The 2 knelt down to congratulate each other. 2 Xian 5th stages? Duan Lingtian swept out his consciousness, and quickly confirmed the cultivation of the last 2 people who knelt down, and he couldn't help being a little surprised. At the same time, I feel that Jade Mountain realm sounds familiar. After another thought. Isn't Yushan realm one of the 18 realms in China that is as famous as his hometown, Nishan realm? Before, he had heard people mention the Yushan realm. He even knew that the rain god realm he was in was one of the small realms attached to the Jade Mountain realm, so he was not surprised that the most powerful person from the Jade Mountain realm appeared here. The 5th level of Xian. Looking at the 2 kneeling in front of his eyes, Duan Lingshan's eyes couldn't help becoming a little complicated. The 5th level of Xian. Placed in the 10,000 realms, it is a half-step world venerable, like the world lord of the Nishan realm Xiao Mubai. Put it outside the boundary, it is half-holy. Existing like the Yui semi-sage Duan Yue of the Duan clan in the Thunder Sacred Realm Bibo Tianfu Customs Clearance Area in the past. Whether it is Xiao Mubai or Duan Yue, in the eyes of Duan Lingtian in the past, they were high and powerful existences. Standing in front of them, they could vaguely feel oppression. And now, existences comparable to Xiao Mubai and Duan Yue knelt down in front of him, extremely respectful. Even, as long as he wanted to with a wave of his hand, he could kill these 2 people. What's the situation over there at Tongtian Tower? Do you 2 know? Duan Lingtian looked at the 2 people in Yushan realm, and asked calmly. Hearing the words, the 2 people in Yushan realm were taken aback for a moment, and then said truthfully, My lord, since the Tongtian Pagoda came into the world, another 7th rank Feng Qingyang from the god-defying realm where you are, has been guarding there, preventing the world venerable from the 10,000 realms and the saint from the outer realm from entering it. More words, whoever dares to enter the Tongtian Tower with the intention, he will kill him. Because of this, although Tongtian Tower has been open for a while, no one has ever entered it. After hearing what the 2 said, Duan Lingtian frowned. Just as he guessed. He guessed earlier that with his master's temperament, the way of heaven is so unfair, he will definitely not let it go. Really? Sherzuan is still the past Sherzuan. Of course, if it were him, he would do the same thing. I stepped into the 7th level by myself, but you, Tian Dao, came up with such a backstab. Isn't this an obvious bully? The Outer Worlds. Thunder Saint Realm. Sacred Cloud Sect. Fujia. When he came back to his senses, Duan Lingshan's eyes shot with murderous intent. Just now when he thought of that Yui half-saint Duan Yue, he was ready to avenge him. But now, he is going to go back to God against God realm first to see his wife Kier. Afterwards, he took a trip to the Thunder Sacred Realm outside the boundary, and wiped out the semi-sacred Force Fu family in the area controlled by the Qing Yun sacred sect. In the past, it was the Banshing of the Fu family who joined forces with the other 2 to kill Duan Yue. After Duan Yue's death, he promised Duan Yue himself that he would avenge her when he had enough strength in the future, in order to repay Duan Yue's kindness in taking care of him in the past. Chapter 45-53. Duan Lingtian broke through and became the second existence to step into the Xian 7th stage, after the historical barrier. Tian Dao text announcement. All of a sudden, people from all over the world, even people from all over the world, knew the news. The Outer Worlds. Central Sea Area. Near the Tongtian Pagoda, originally sitting cross-legged and closing eyes to rest the mind, the wind was light, but after opening his eyes and seeing the heavenly characters on the horizon, a smile appeared on his face. Xueqi, I finally took this step. The two of us, stepping into the 7th level of Xian together. If the relationship between our master and apprentice is spread, it will undoubtedly make a good talk. Knowing that her disciple Duan Ling Tian had made a breakthrough, Feng Qingyang was also happy for him. From now on, the land outside the world, and even the world in terms of strength, they are respected by the two masters and apprentices. Certainly. Although he knew that his disciple Duan Ling Tian had stepped into the 7th Xian, and guessed that the other party would return to the Nishan realm, he didn't plan to go back to meet his disciple. The most important thing he needs to do now is to keep an eye on this Babel Tower. Don't let any existence of the strongest 6th level enter. We, the master and apprentice, have gone through hardships, relying on our own efforts and opportunities to have the strength we have today. Why are you able to follow the way of heaven and give it on purpose, which is obviously a shortcut for us? Until now, thinking of this matter, Feng Qingyang is still very angry. Otherwise, he wouldn't be guarding here, preventing those existences of the 6th level Xian from entering the Tongtian Tower. He is not afraid of other existences of the strongest 7th level in this world. If someone can, like him and his disciple Duan Ling Tian, completely rely on his own strength to break through the taboo realm and step into the 7th level of Xian, with his personality, it is impossible to target the other party. What he is targeting now is the way of heaven. The way of heaven is unfair, so let me uphold justice. After Xiao Tian returns to the Nishan realm, he will definitely know that I am here. Feng Qingyang muttered to himself, stood up, looked up at the Tongtian Tower not far away. His eyes flickered with coldness. With my own strength, it is difficult to destroy this Tongtian Tower. When Xiao Tian comes over, I will try to join hands with him to see if we can break the Tongtian Tower. As long as the Tongtian Tower is broken, he doesn't need to keep guarding here anymore. Besides, that day, there should be no way to directly attack me. Otherwise, I prevented others from entering Tongtian Tower, and he would not have remained silent until now. It's been a while. All the powerful people in the upper 3 realms stayed near the Tongtian Tower because of Feng Qingyang, so only 1 or 2 people were left nearby. As long as Feng Qingyang leaves, they can make a comeback. Enter the Tongtian Tower and try to get the Heavenly Dao Talisman. Only, what they didn't expect was, it hasn't been long since they returned to their home realm, even just a few months. In the past, the first person to break through the taboo realm of heavenly tribulation, and also the first person to be announced by the text of the Heavenly Dao to the myriad worlds and places outside the world, unexpectedly appeared in the text of the Dao of Heaven again. This Duan Ling Tian from the God-defying realm. Has he stepped into the 7th level of Xian? Feng Qingyang was originally just a middle-level deity. After breaking through the taboo realm, as long as he stepped into the upper-level deity, he could quickly become the strongest. It's not that easy to re-enter Xian. I didn't expect him to break through so quickly. Originally, there wasn't even a 7th level existence in the 10,000 realms, or even in the outer realm. Now, 2 people suddenly appeared, and they both came from the God-defying realm. From now on, it will be a joke for us to go to the 3 realms. The Nishan realm is the well-deserved first realm of the 10,000 realms. A group of world prestige powerhouses from the upper 3 realms didn't look very good at this moment. After all, in the past, looking at the land outside the world, and even the world, they were the people who stood at the top, standing high above, overlooking all living beings, making people only look up. But now, above their heads, there are 2 existences stronger than them. How does this make them feel better? Humph. I don't believe it. That Feng Qingyang can guard the Tongtian Tower for a lifetime. In the Mingguang realm, Lei Hong snorted coldly, showing unwillingness. Besides, I don't believe it either. Heavenly. I will let Feng Qingyang handle it. The outer worlds. A group of saints were also blocked by Feng Qingyang outside the Tongtian Tower some time ago. Facing the strong and powerful Feng Qingyang, they could only retreat honestly. Among them, the saints from the Thunder Sacred Realm Bibo Tianfu were eager to enter the Tongtian Tower. But in the end they had no choice but to go back and forth. No way. Feng Qingyang's strength is too powerful. Even if they teamed up with a group of saints, it would be difficult to deal with each other. Between the 6th level and the 7th level is a huge hurdle. In the middle, there is a taboo realm of mortal catastrophe. Risk and reward often go hand in hand. Duan Ling Tian has also made a breakthrough. He used to be the guardian disciple of our Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, and now he has broken through to the 7th level, and he is still a person who defies the gods. That Feng Qingyang should sell his face and let him shall our saints from Bibo Tianfu enter Tongtian Pagoda? In the past, I also saw Duan Ling Tian in our Bibo Tianfu, competing with the most powerful existence under our Bibo Tianfu sage. At that time, I really didn't expect that Duan Ling Tian would be able to have the present in such a short period of time. Achievement. It's outrageous. Duan Lingshan's current strength is above the most powerful saint in our Bibo Tianfu. After all, there is a fate between Duan Ling Tian and Bibo Tianfu. In addition, the saints of Bibo Tianfu also wanted to enter Tongtian Pagoda. Therefore, Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace in Bibo Tianfu, was quickly sent out, and asked him to go to Nishan Realm to intercede with Duan Ling Tian, so that the saints of Bibo Tianfu could enter Tongtian Pagoda. Although Xiao Tianxi was helpless, he felt that Bibo Tianfu was in a difficult position. However, he could only agree to take a trip. However, I dare not make a promise. I really didn't expect, the little guy from the past, in the blink of an eye, has grown into such a terrifying existence. Existence above the saint. On the way to the teleportation formation, Xiao Tianxi couldn't help sighing in his heart. His gaze was particularly complicated. The existence of the 7th level Xian. With such an existence, even if they want to destroy the entire Bibo Tianfu, it is probably just a matter of gestures. And when Xiao Tianxi had just set off, Duan Ling Tian also returned to the god-defying realm. As soon as they arrived in the Nishan realm, they received a warm welcome from the world lord Xiao Mubai and others, and their postures when facing Duan Ling Tian also completely changed. Even the name has changed. Master Duan Ling Tian. Master Duan Ling Tian. Chapter 45-54. In this world, the strong are respected. In the past, before Duan Ling Tian rose to prominence, he was obsequious in front of the strong, not daring to take a breath, for fear of offending the strong and being wiped out by the opponent's fingers. Nowadays, as soon as Duan Ling Tian rose to the top, he stepped into the 7th stage of the strongest, becoming the second existence above the realm of respect and saint after the historical separation between heaven and earth. Now he, and his master Wind lightly raised a glance. Not to mention in the Nishan realm, even in other realms of the 10,000 realms, or even outside the realm, they are all existences standing at the pinnacle. Even his potential is higher than Feng Qingyang. It is true that Feng Qingyang has his own talent and savvy, but it is more due to the inheritance of the former strongman of the god-defying realm, the Sword of Time. The Sword of Time, at its peak, did not reach the 7th level of Xian. His help to Feng Qingyang is very limited. It is amazing to help Feng Qingyang step into the 7th level of Xian. And Duan Ling Tian, as a person who perfectly integrated the memory of the super-strong old man Wukong before the historical partition, as long as he further perfectly understands the memory of old man Wukong and puts it into practical use, he will become the second old man Wukong. Just a matter of time. What Duan Ling Tian has achieved now is astonishing in the eyes of others. However, if we look at the lifetime achievements of the old man Wukong, it can only be regarded as a new starting point. Hello, Lord Xiao. Everyone, I still have some things to do. Let's meet again when I have time. After saying hello to Xiao Mubai and others, Duan Ling Tian moved forward and disappeared out of nowhere in front of them. This scene also made several people gasp. The existence of the 7th level, the speed is so terrifying. Too strong. The last time Master Feng Qingyang came back, I haven't seen him show such speed. However, judging from the current situation that no one can enter the Tongtian Tower, it is self-evident that Master Feng Qingyang is strong. Between several people whispering, Duan Ling Tian has already returned to the land of the gods. The Xia family appeared silently in the Xia family mansion. Even, it appeared silently in a quiet courtyard in the Xia family mansion. Who? Duan Lingshan's sudden appearance also alarmed the guard maids in the courtyard. The other party's expression changed first, and then after seeing Duan Lingshan's appearance clearly, they all showed joy. It's Uncle. Uncle is back. These servant girls are the servant girls who served Kier in the past. They have been with Kier for many years, and they have also met Duan Ling Tian, so they recognized Duan Ling Tian at a glance. After recognizing it, they bowed respectfully and saluted. Duan Ling Tian nodded to the maidservants, then walked into the room. During this process, he also casually asked, "Before me, did someone come and treat your lady?" What I got was an affirmative response. Duan Lingshan's heart warmed up. Just as he guessed. The master who stepped into the 7th level of Xian before him has already come. At this time, Duan Lingtian had already walked into the room, spreading his powerful spiritual sense, and quickly observed his wife Kir's current situation clearly. The power that imprisoned the soul has disappeared. However, the soul is unstable. After all, it has been traumatized and imprisoned for many years. Even if it has the ability to heal itself, it will take some time to recover. However, looking at the recovery speed of the soul, it is obvious that some things that are helpful to the recovery of the power of the soul have been used. Or a panacea, or a natural treasure. When he came to the bed and looked at his wife Kir who was still sleeping, Duan Lingshan's eyes softened instantly, and he took his wife's hand with one hand. Kir, from now on, no one can hurt you anymore. Do not worry. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself, looking at his wife's pretty face like this, he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. I don't know when. The third master of the Xia family Xia Jie has arrived, and the head of the Xia family Xia Yu has also arrived. However, they all just stood at the door of the room, looking at the purple figure squatting in front of the bed. Xia Jie looked relieved. Xia Yu had a complicated expression on his face. Once upon a time, he didn't like this son-in-law from a small place at all. It wasn't until the other party showed amazing talent and strength, coupled with his daughter's persistence, that he had to compromise. And now, this son-in-law, whom he looked down upon in the past, has grown to the point where he looks up to him. Now, even the ancestor of their Xia family, who was considered invincible in his eyes, would be hard-pressed to take a single move against this son-in-law. Xueqi, your vision is better than your father's. Xia Yu sighed inwardly. The two stood there silently. Even if they wanted to catch up with Duan Lingtian, they didn't disturb Duan Lingtian, waiting for Duan Lingtian to come back to his senses. Duan Lingtian had already noticed the gaze behind him. However, he didn't care. There is no threat. Even if there is a threat, with his current strength, he is not afraid at all. After 3 full hours, Duan Lingtian just looked away, stood up, turned around, and looked at the two people standing at the door. Third uncle. He first greeted Xia Jie with a smile. He respected from the bottom of his heart the third master of the Xia family, who had helped him when he was young. Patriarch Xia. As for the cheap old man, if he wants to change his words, he should wait for his wife Kir to wake up first. Xia Yu also knew this truth, so he just smiled wryly and didn't say much. Xia Jie, on the other hand, laughed and kept feeling. I really didn't expect you, kid. One day you can achieve what you are today. This achievement is beyond my wildest dreams. In Xia Jie's eyes, being able to become the strongest is already considered pretty good. As for the strongest among the strongest, he dare not think about it. Even in the history of their Xia family, the strongest Xian who has ever appeared is no more than the 4th level of Xian. Third uncle, no matter what achievements I have made, I am your junior, your niece and son-in-law. Duan Lingtian said with a slight smile. Ha ha. That's natural. If you dare to float, wait until that girl Ningxue wakes up and see if I don't let her clean you up. Xia Jie said with a laugh. After chatting with Xia Jie for a few more words, Duan Lingtian took his leave first and left. Third uncle, I still have something to do, I have to leave for a while. I'll come back with Kir to see you after I'm done. Duan Lingtian greeted Xia Jie. Then, he sent Kir into the small world inside his own body. Now, the small world inside his body seems to have become a world. Inside, the divine tree of life glows softly, and the breath of life is extremely strong. In addition, the divine water of purification is attached to the divine tree of life, and through the divine tree of life, it provides this world with an inexhaustible source of water. Kir, from today onwards, we will never be separated again. Although the former Duan Lingtian was able to send Kir into the small world inside his body, he was worried that Kir would be implicated if he died in a disaster. Now, there is no such concern. Looking at this world, as long as Tian Dao can't directly deal with him, there will be no one who can kill him. Not to mention that Tong Tian Pagoda is guarded by his master now, and those world venerables and saints are not allowed to enter. Even if those people can enter, there will be an existence of the 7th level Xian, and it is impossible to kill him. Next, let's take a trip to the land outside the boundary, the Thunder Saint realm. When Duan Lingtian left the god-defying realm, killing intent shot out in his eyes. Sister Wei, I'm going to avenge you. Chapter 45-55. Returning to the land outside the boundary, breathing the air of the land outside the boundary, Duan Lingshan's mentality is completely different. Back then, when he first came to the outside world, he walked on thin ice, fearing that he would encounter an unreasonable strong man who would kill him. Later, although it was not so unlucky, it was also close to death. Red Demon Ridge. Red Devil. Until now, Duan Lingtian can't forget that when he first came to the land outside the boundary, he strayed into the Red Demon Ridge and was imprisoned by the owner of the Red Demon Ridge, the most powerful Red Demon. At that time, the Red Demon imprisoned many people. The purpose is to find a new body suitable for him, and he wants to be reborn. Because, in the future, he is not sure how to deal with the 10,000-year catastrophe of the strongest, and he wants to rely on the advantages of his clan to seize his home to avoid the catastrophe of the strongest. Almost forgot about that. Thinking of the Red Demon, Duan Lingtian did not think of any accidents, the round token back then. At the beginning, after he was imprisoned by the Red Demon, he was forced to participate in the test set by the Red Demon. One of the people imprisoned by the Red Demon was named Wang Yiyuan. Before Wang Yiyuan died, he gave him the token and asked him to help take care of his sister. Later, Duan Lingtian also made a special trip to Wang Yiyuan's house, settled his sister, and repaid his gift of the token. That token is the Return to the Ruins key left by a powerful man. A 5th-level Zeon, that is, a half-step world venerable, something left by a half-sage. There is a spirit in the token. Return to the ruins? Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian began to communicate with the spirit in the token. I have stepped into the most powerful realm now. What happened to the Guishu left by your original master? Is it the ruins left by the strong man before the historical partition that he found? Later, Duan Lingtian also met the Return to the Ruins, and he has a certain understanding of the Return to the Ruins, knowing that it is basically a secret space left by the strong before the historical partition. And as the spirit in the circular token spoke, Duan Lingtian knew that the so-called Guishu was just borrowing the name of Guishu. That is to say, the space left by the half-step Jesuan with some opportunities is still different from the real Guishu, and there are also some inheritances left by the other party. However, it is of no use to him now. Because, what he has achieved now has far surpassed that half-step world venerable. What the other party has, he may not have now, but as long as he is willing, it is not difficult to get. Free later, let's go to that place to return to the ruins and see what he left behind. Maybe there's something useful. Duan Lingtian secretly thought. As for the spirit in the circular token, because it has been communicating with the divine tree of life and the divine water of purification, it also knows the current achievements of this new master. Naturally, he also knows that the other party may not be interested in what its original owner left behind. I can only sigh in my heart. Perhaps, his original owner never dreamed that the person who got the inheritance he left behind would step into the most powerful state and reach the threshold of entering the place where he left his inheritance. And when he first entered the most powerful state, he would breaking through to a realm that he never reached before his lifetime. Zeon's 7th level. It's outrageous. Fujia. It is the family attached to the Saint Power Qingyun sacred sect, in the landmine Holy Land outside the boundary. It is a semi-holy force. Only the forces with semi-holy powerhouses in the clan can be called half-holy forces. The Fu family in the past could only be regarded as an ordinary semi-holy force under Qingyun Shengzong's command. Because under Qingyun Shengzong's command, there are still many semi-holy forces that are not weaker than it. So much so that the Fu family didn't have much sense of existence. But a few years ago, the Fu family became the most popular semi-holy force under the Qingyun sect. Because the Fu family has a second semi-saint powerhouse. Fu Liangyu. Fu Liangyu? This name sounds familiar. Duan Lingtian had just arrived at the Thunder Saint realm, the area under the jurisdiction of the Qingyun sacred sect, and inquired about the Fu family, and soon learned that the Fu family now has 2 half-sages, which are highly valued by the Qingyun sacred sect. I remembered. During the lightning flash, Duan Lingtian remembered. Fu Liangyu. Isn't he the same member of the Fu family that he met in a teleportation array within the Qingyun sacred sect's area when he and Yi half-sage Duan Yue returned from Nishan realm to the outside world? Until now, he still remembered Fu Liangji's gloomy face when he came forward to greet Duan Yue. At the beginning, the reason why his sister Yue was targeted by the semi-sage of the Fu family, and even found someone to join forces to kill him, was probably because Fu Liangyu sold his sister Yue. Otherwise, how would the semi-sacred powerhouse of the Fu family know that Duan Yue, a semi-sacred Duan from the Duan clan of Bibo Tianfu, had arrived in the area of Qingyun sacred sect? My sister Yu Wei was killed by the semi-saint of your Fu family. You are lucky to break through and become a semi-saint. In an instant, Duan Lingshan's originally peaceful eyes became colder and murderous. Fu Jia originally wanted to find someone to ask where the Fu family was, but Duan Lingtian happened to hear someone talking in the restaurant, saying that he saw a young master of the Fu family just now and went to the box upstairs. All right. There are people who lead the way. Boom. With a loud noise, the door of the box was blasted open, startling several people inside. Who are you? Are you courting death? Inside the box, the faces of the young people sitting at the front of the table changed drastically, and one of them even stood up, looking at the young man in purple who walked in slowly with killing intent in his eyes. Who is from the Fu family? Duan Lingtian asked calmly. What an arrogant guy. Anu, kill him. The young man who stood up with killing intent in his eyes saw Duan Lingshan's arrogance, gave an order, and the old woman in Xingyi who stood behind her immediately responded, Yes, young master. Then, as soon as she moved, she swept towards Duan Lingtian. He didn't even bother to probe the other party with his spiritual sense. She is not the top existence among the high-ranking gods, but she is also an existence in the middle and upper reaches. Even if the opponent is a high-ranking god, she is unlikely to be her opponent. What's more, she is still from the Fu family. This restaurant is still owned by a subsidiary family under the Fu family. What is she afraid of? However, the old woman hadn't had time to get close to Duan Lingtian. A gray light shot out from Duan Lingshan's eyes, flashed a crack in space in front of her, and then vibrated in an instant, turning her into powder. A person who was a real person disappeared in the blink of an eye. Who is from the Fu family? Duan Lingtian asked again. But this time, the few people inside didn't dare to be arrogant anymore, and the young man who let the old woman make a move was even more frightened. His face turned pale and his body trembled. The most powerful? At the same time, several other young people, feeling the huge pressure caused by the sudden sweep, knew that this was the consciousness of the young and powerful man in front of them, and their expressions suddenly changed. Then, he hurriedly sold the young man whose face was pale from fright. Senior, his name is Fu Hui. He is the only member of the Fu family here. Yes. Senior, he is the only one from the Fu family here. The strongest. Although, there are Xions in their family. However, they are only marginal figures in various families, and there is no way for Xion to fight another Xion for them. Behind Fu Hui, there is a grandfather of the strongest, but it is only the first level of the strongest, and he was injured a few years ago, and he is still recovering from his injuries. Chapter 45-56. The Fu family, not to mention being well known in the area governed by the Qingyun sacred sect, is a top family that can be ranked. Even looking at the entire Thunder Saint realm, the Fu family is a very famous existence. After all, the Fu family is not only a semi-saint force, but also the most powerful semi-saint force in recent years under the Qingyun sect, because there is a second semi-saint among them. A double and a half saint. The Fu family has suddenly become under the Qingyun sacred sect, and is expected to be the rare double-half holy family in the history since then. Moreover, Fu Liangming, the Mingyao semi-sage of the Fu family, is also a semi-sacred powerhouse who has been famous for many years, and his strength can also be ranked in the forefront among many semi-sacred powers in the Thunder Saint realm and even outside the world. His younger brother Fu Liangyu lived up to his high hopes a few years ago, and with his help, he successfully became a semi-saint. Inside the restaurant box. Different from the panic of the friends who had dinner together, Fu Hui forcibly calmed down the moment his face showed fear. He looked at the purple-clothed young man in front of him. His face darkened, and he said, Your Excellency, what are you looking for from the Fu family? I, Fu Hui, although I am not a core child of the Fu family, there is an elder who is the most powerful member of the Fu family. Xion, is it amazing? His grandfather was also the strongest. Since you know our Fu family, you should also know that our Fu family is a double-half holy family with two half-saint powerhouses? Before Duan Lingtian could speak, Fu Hui said again, I guess you don't know this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have killed my servant. From Fu Hui's point of view, the powerhouse in front of him is most likely to be a powerhouse from outside, or even a visitor from myriad realms, and he doesn't know the status of the Fu family in the Qingyun sect area of the Thunder Saint realm. He didn't even know the Fu family's strength. However, Fu Hui soon discovered that even if he told the other party that the Fu family was a double half-holy family with two half-holy powerhouses, the other party still had a calm expression. Are you playing tricks? Still don't know what half-holy means? Are you from the myriad worlds? Not an aborigine from the outer worlds? Fu Hui asked with a frown. Hearing Fu Hu's words, Duan Ling Tian, who was originally indifferent, couldn't help being startled, then subconsciously frowned and asked, "How do you know? Did it get recognized?" "Not right. He has never been here." Back then, he also met Fu Liangyu from the Fu family along with the Yui Bansheng. Of course, Fu Liangyu at that time was not yet a half-saint. Just became a semi-holy a few years ago. Snort. Facing Duan Lingshan's response, Fu Hui immediately understood, and said with a cold snort, "If you are not a person from the myriad worlds, would you not know what a semi-sage is? What does it mean?" Duan Ling Tian was taken aback. People from all over the world don't know what a semi-saint is? Mean what? What is this guy talking about? Then he saw Fu Hui continue to say proudly, "Half-sage, equivalent to your half-step world venerable from all worlds. How about it? Now, do you know how powerful our Fu family is?" Fu Hui originally thought that he would be able to see the panicked expression of the purple-clothed youth in front of him, but what he didn't expect was, after listening to his words, the other party still looked indifferent. "How? Scared?" Fu Hui sneered. In his opinion, half-step world venerable, that is the existence of the fifth level of the strongest, even in the eyes of this hillbilly-like supreme of 10,000 realms, it is an invincible existence. As for saying that the other party is also a half-step world venerable, he absolutely does not believe it. Even if the news is blocked, it is impossible for a half-step Jesuan not to know what the half-holy and half-holy forces in the outer world mean. Certainly. In this world, there is another type of people who are not afraid of their Fu family, and can even despise their Fu family. That is the sage and the powerful man of the world who are above the half-sage and half-step world venerable. Certainly. Now there is still the existence of the seventh level of the strongest that surpasses saints and world-venerated powerhouses. However, there are only two people in those existences. Moreover, they have nothing to do with the Fu family. How did he know? If the Fu family had anything to do with those two, they would have bragged about it everywhere. As for the enmity, it is impossible for them, the Fu family, to provoke even saints and world prestige powerhouses, let alone those two existences who are above saints and world prestige powerhouses. Because of this, he never thought that the most powerful person in front of him would be a saint, a world-venerated person or above. "So you thought I didn't know half-sages, but half-step world venerables?" Tu Duan Ling Tian smiled. It turned out to be the case. Just now, the other party bluntly guessed that he was a man of the myriad worlds, which really made him feel astonished for a moment. How did his identity as a man of all worlds be exposed? Is it written on your face? Okay, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Take me to the Fu family. Otherwise, I'll send you to see your servant right away. Duan Ling Tian waved his hand impatiently, and then a force swept out, taking Fu Hui and disappearing in front of everyone's eyes in an instant. It is teleportation. With his current strength, he can easily teleport people. Of course, teleporting with someone is much more restrictive than teleporting by yourself. After a while, Duan Ling Tian appeared above the city with Fu Hu's pale complexion. His eyes were full of bewilderment. Since this person knows that a half-sage is equal to a half-step world venerable, why doesn't he show any signs of panic? Isn't he afraid of having two half-lived Fu family? Senior. Who the are you? Fu Hui asked with a trembling voice. He is not a fool either. Just now, he thought the other party was frightened. But now, judging from the other party's performance, where is he scared? More like it doesn't matter. Where is the Fu family? Show me the way. Duan Ling Tian glanced at Fu Hui. His tone was so cold that Fu Hui felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His whole body was icy cold. If the person in front of me is someone the Fu family can't afford to provoke, it doesn't matter if he leads the way, but once the other party pats his and leaves afterwards, and the rest of the Fu family know that he led the way, what will they do to him? At that time, even if his grandfather is one of the strongest members of the Fu family, it may be difficult to keep him. The Fu family is a family with two semi-saint powerhouses. Although there are less than 100 powerful people among them, there are dozens of them. And his grandfather, as the existence of the first level of power, is only at the bottom among them. Worth mentioning. Senior, if I show you the way, can you release me outside our Fu family's residence? Fu Hui said with a bitter face. He really didn't want to be a traitor. No more nonsense. I'll send you to see your servant. One Duan Lingshan's eyes turned cold, and his tone was full of impatience. Then, over there, the Fu family is over there. Fu Hui was so frightened that he trembled all over, and then hurriedly stretched out his fingers, not daring to hesitate any longer. Die and die. It is better to die later than to die now. Chapter 45-57. Under Fu Hui's guidance, Duan Ling Tian arrived outside the Fu family's residence smoothly. As a semi-holy family in the area of Qingyun's sacred sect, the Fu family occupies a vast area, even bigger than the semi-holy family Duan in the area of Bibo Tianfu that Duan Ling Tian visited in the past. Fujia! With a cold gaze, Duan Ling Tian snorted, and then ignored Fu Hui who was leading him the way. With a teleport, he passed through the Fu family's protective formation and entered the sky above the Fu family. Fu Liangming, Fu Liangyu, get out! Duan Ling Tian shouted lightly. The next moment, bursts of terrifying aura swept out from him, turning into a space storm in an instant, sweeping in all directions and spreading out continuously. At this moment, the Fu family's residence, which was originally peaceful, also raised a large clan protection formation, and a powerful translucent defensive mask was raised, intending to resist the power that swept out of Duan Ling Tian at will. However, boom, rumble. Loud noises sounded as if the sky was collapsing, but it was the Fu family's clan protection formation, which was vulnerable to Duan Lingshan's random power like a chicken and a tile dog. The terrifying space storm raged further, and in an instant, most of the Fu family's residence was razed to the ground. Mourning everywhere. Blood flowed like a river. The weak members of the Fu family were crushed to death like ants this time. The stronger members of the Fu family were lucky enough to escape death, but they were also in a panic. The most powerful. It's not just an ordinary Xian. There were exclamations everywhere. Who are you? Soon there were the most powerful members of the Fu family. While resisting Duan Lingshan's power and protecting many members of the Fu family, they rose from the sky and rushed towards Duan Lingshan's place. Started alone. Then, the second strongest person, the third strongest person, and the fourth, rose up from the sky one after another, surrounded Duan Ling Tian, and stared at Duan Ling Tian covetously. However, in the depths of their eyes, there is a sincere fear. It's not because of the destructive power of the power shown by the other party just now. That kind of destructive power, a few of them can also do it. The reason why they are afraid now is because of what the other party said just now. The other party asked Fu Liangming and Fu Liangyu from the Fu family to get out. And those two are the pillars of their Fu family, two half-saints. Not coming. Facing the dozen or so powerhouses surrounding him, Duan Ling Tian looked around, but he didn't see Fu Liangyu who had met once before. As for Fu Liangming, he was obviously not there either. Among these Xians, judging by their power aura, the strongest is the existence of Xian's fourth level. Who are you? How did I, the Fu family, offend you? Soon, a gloomy, extremely angry voice came from the depths of the Fu family's residence. Along with the sound, there was a figure like a ghost. Feng Su came to Yu Feng in a blink of an eye. To Duan Ling Tian, he was not an unfamiliar figure. It was the person from the Fu family that he saw in the past when he brought the half-sage of Yu Yi Duan Yu Wei back to the Nishan realm, and returned to the Thunder Sacred Realm outside the realm. Fu Liangming's younger brother. In the past, Duan Yu Wei's whereabouts were most likely sent back to the Fu family by the other party, and then Fu Liangming from the Fu family joined hands with other semi-sages to kill her. After several years, Fu Liangjia's appearance has not changed, but her temperament has changed greatly. Her whole body exudes the aura of a superior person, like a king looking down on the world. Although he met Duan Ling Tian, but at that time his attention was all on Duan Yu Wei, and he didn't pay much attention to Duan Ling Tian, so he didn't recognize Duan Ling Tian at the first time. But, although he didn't recognize Duan Ling Tian, seeing that the other party dared to break into the Fu family like this, and even killed members of the Fu family indiscriminately, facing him the new half-sage of the Fu family, he still had a face of fearlessness, but it was not difficult to see that the other party was serious. Confidence. I'm afraid it is at least a half-saint. Otherwise, how dare you provoke him and his elder brother as soon as you open your mouth? Fu Liangyu, but I haven't seen you for a few years, and you don't remember me? Duan Lingtian looked at Fu Liangyu and smiled coldly. You really are a noble person who forgets things too much. I know you. Fu Liangyu frowned. Hearing what the other party said. He had met him? Since you don't remember, there's no need to think about it. Duan Lingtian glanced at Fu Liangyu blankly. After all, even if you think about it, it's useless. Because, you will be a dead person soon. The moment the voice fell, Duan Lingtian did not see any movement, and a dazzling light shot out of him in an instant, like a shooting star flashing across the sky. Before Fu Liangyu could react, she had already entered his body. Fu Liangji's complexion changed drastically. When he just came back to his senses, his face froze, and then his eyes darkened, and his body began to shatter. In an instant, Fu Liangji's fragmented body was swept away by a burst of spatial ripples in the void, and instantly turned into powder, blown away by the wind. A majestic demi-saint who died in a blink of an eye. Not even bones left. Just in this instant, the sky over the Fu family's mansion was dim for a while, and the cloudy scene of lightning and thunder replaced the original clear sky. One after another sounded like howling ghosts and wolves. The 10,000 zhong golden glow is especially dazzling in the cloudy clouds. Bursts of blood rain poured down from the sky. This kind of scene, with the Fu family as the center, continued to spread, and shocked the world in an instant. Distance. One after another figures rose from the sky, looking in the direction of the Fu family's residence. They all showed surprise. Is there a semi-saint who died? He is a semi-sage who is good at the laws of the metal system. In that direction, in that position, the half-sage who is good at the laws of the metal system, is the new half-sage of the Fu family, the Yuhua half-sage Fu Liangyu? Fu Liangyu was killed? My God! It's only been a few years, yet another half-sage fell in our thunder-sacred realm Qingyun's sacred sect area? A few years ago, a half-sage who was good at the law of life fell, right? The half-sage of the Fu family was killed, causing a commotion in all directions. Even Qingyun Shengzong was shocked. The one who died was Fu Liangyu, the half-sage of the Fu family? After all, the Fu family is a semi-sacred force affiliated with our Qingyun sect. Killing him without saying hello to our Qingyun sect would be too disrespectful to our Qingyun sect. Inside. Let's go. Go to the Fu family to have a look. Fu Liangyu of the Fu family was killed, and I don't know what happened to Fu Liangming. Shooting, who is it? In the direction of Qingyun Shengzong, many half-sages rushed to the Fu family. The Fu family went deeper. An old man who had been in retreat to attack the realm of a saint was also awakened. Why bother me to retreat? Didn't I tell you that unless the Fu family is in danger of genocide and even my younger brother can't resist it, can I interrupt my cultivation? In view of the general environment, this site may be closed at any time. Please move to the permanent source replacement app, Huanyuan app. Org as soon as possible. The old man's voice was full of anger. And he is none other than Fu Liangming, the brilliant semi-sage of the Fu family. Soon. Outside, a mournful cry came. Great ancestor, the second ancestor, was killed just now. The Fu family needs the great ancestor to take charge of the overall situation. Hearing this, Fu Liangming's complexion changed instantly, and his eyes showed a truly incredible look. Someone killed his younger brother Fu Liangyu? How can it be? Although he thought it was unlikely, Fu Liangming left the customs immediately, and after further questioning the people guarding outside, he turned into a gust of wind and rushed out. Who are you? Why did you kill my brother? Fu Liangming's voice resounded throughout the Fu family's residence, with shocking anger in his tone. Chapter 45-58. In a large area centered on the Fu family's residence, the blood rain was still frightening. The bright golden light gradually dimmed after appearing for a period of time. During this process, there was a vague golden human figure, which originally stood upright between the sky and the earth, but now it crashed down. The howling of ghosts and wolves gradually subsided. But the Fu family went up and down, from a group of powerful people to a group of survivors. Looking at the scene in front of them, chills rose deep in their hearts. Old ancestor was killed? The ancestor is a semi-holy powerhouse, and he died in a blink of an eye? Who is he? A saint? It must be a saint. If it weren't for a saint, how could he have such terrifying strength? A group of people from the Fu family were filled with fear in their hearts at this time, and their gazes looking at the purple figure standing above the void were even more frightening that could not be concealed. Who can tell them who the person in front of them is? Why come to Fu Jiaxing to question them? And why did they kill the second patriarch of the Fu family, Yuhua semi-sage Fu Liangyu? But soon, A voice full of rage, like thunder, interrupted their thoughts. Who are you? Why did you kill my brother? Hearing this voice, everyone in the Fu family guessed who the voice was. It was the patriarch of their Fu family, Mingyao semi-sage Fu Liangming. The great patriarch is here. Many people's eyes lit up, and their faces were full of hope. But there are more people, but they still look ugly, without the slightest joy of the great ancestor. It's just because the invading enemy that the Fu family faced this time was really too powerful, and it only took one blow to kill the second ancestor of the semi-holy realm. The great patriarch, who is also a semi-saint, even though his strength is much stronger than the second patriarch, but he definitely does not have the ability to kill the second patriarch. Not to mention killing the second ancestor easily in a short period of time. Fu Liangming. Duan Lingtian stood there, looking calmly at another old man who appeared in front of him. This old man looked quite similar to Fu Liangyu, and the aura radiating from him was even more domineering. A novel app that has been running stably for many years, comparable to the old version of the book-chasing artifact, the source-changing app used by old bookworms, Huanyuan app. Org. Based on the previous words of this person, it is not difficult for him to guess the identity of the other party. Fu Liangming, the semi-sage of the Fu family who has been famous for many years. He was also one of the few half-sages who killed the Yui half-sage Duan Yue, who recognized him as his younger brother. Your Excellency, I don't know how our Fu family offended you. How did my younger brother and I offend you? The current Fu Liangming, when he appeared in front of Duan Lingtian, he forcibly suppressed the murderous intent on his face and eyes, and even temporarily suppressed his anger. It's just because, in the process of coming, he also gradually calmed down. Can kill his younger brother Fu Liangyu. Can this person be an ordinary person? At least it is also the existence of the realm of saints. He. Facing Fu Liangming's question, Duan Lingtian chuckled, and the smile on the corner of his mouth turned into a sneer in an instant. Is that Fu Liangming? You. Could it be that you forgot the Yu Yi half-saint who died in your hands a few years ago? If he really wants to deal with Liang Ming, the difficulty for Duan Lingtian to kill him is no different from killing Fu Liangyu, even if his strength is much stronger than Fu Liangyu. However, he still has something to learn from the other party. After all, Fu Liangming was not the only one who killed his sister Yue half-sage back then. There were other half-sages as well. Following Duan Lingshan's voice fell. Fu Liangming was taken aback for a moment. Then he came back to his senses, and his expression changed instantly. Half-holy Knight. You came here for Yui Bansheng. Fu Liangming looked at Duan Lingtian, took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with horror. He never expected that this person came here for Duan Yue who died in his hands in the past. Back then, he learned from his younger brother Fu Liangyu that the half-saint Yu Yi had appeared in the area of the Qingyun sacred sect. He immediately found the other two half-saints, and the three joined forces to kill each other. It's just because Bansheng Yui has enmity with him. And today, a strong man who was clearly above the level of a saint came to the Fu family, started a killing spree, and even killed his younger brother Fu Liangyu who had been promoted to a semi-saint, and told him that he came for the sake of the semi-sacred Yu Yi. How can it be? Fu Liangming was startled and terrified. How did Yue Duan know such a powerful saint? Wrong. Soon, Fu Liangming came back to his senses and thought of another question. The fact that he killed Yu Yi Bansheng was only known to a few people, and it was not spread later. After all, if it spread, it might offend Bibo Tianfu who is as famous as Qingyun's sect. Anyway, the Duan family behind Yue, the half-sage of Yu Yi, also belongs to the half-sacred family under the command of Bibo Tianfu in the area of Bibo Tianfu. It is impossible for Yu Yi Bansheng's message to leave the Qingyun sacred sect's jurisdiction. Unless someone within the Qingyun sacred sect received a summons from Yu Yi Bansheng at that time, they would know that I and the other two teamed up to kill her. And the person in front of me learned it from that person. Or, this person was in the area of Qingyun sacred sect at that time. But if that's the case, how could he wait until today to attack our Fu family? In the blink of an eye, Fu Liangming thought a lot. Soon, he thought of a possibility. This person, when Duan Yue died, was he just a semi-saint? Recently, I just became a saint, so I rushed to the door immediately to avenge Duan Yue? The more Fu Liangming thought about this brain supplement, the more he felt it was possible. Your Excellency, I do not understand what you are saying. Fu Liangming looked at Duan Lingtian, frowned and said, Duan Yue, the semi-sage of Yui, indeed, I have some conflicts. But her death really has nothing to do with me. Did you misunderstand? Did you find the wrong person? In any case, there is a high probability that the opponent is a saint or higher. He is not an opponent, and the Fu family is not an opponent, so he can only admit defeat first. This kind of thing, even if he did it, can't admit it. Maybe, the other party got the news from someone else. If so, he firmly denies it, and the other party may also doubt the authenticity of the news. Misunderstand? Duan Ling Tian was startled for a moment, but then he also realized that Fu Liangming had a fluke mentality. With a flick of his mind, he lifted his hand casually, and suddenly a terrifying force restrained Fu Liangming. Then, fix Fu Liangming in the distant void, and completely imprison him. What a powerful force! After Fu Liangming was imprisoned, he tried to break free with all his strength but couldn't help it. His face changed completely, and his eyes showed fear. At this moment, he also thoroughly confirmed. The purple-clothed youth in front of him is definitely an existence above a saint. I know that you and others teamed up to kill Yui Bansheng. Now, tell me who the others are. If you cooperate with me honestly, I can give you a good time. If you don't cooperate with me, I will make you regret it. In Duan Lingshan's calm tone, there was a fearful killing intent. Fu Liangming's expression changed again. Before he could speak, ka. Several figures appeared one after another over the Fu family's residence. They were the semi-sages who had just rushed over from the Qingyun sacred sect. Your Majesty, be merciful. The Fu family is a subordinate family of our Qingyun sect, and Fu Liangming is also a member of our Qingyun sect, and is protected by our Qingyun sacred saints. Your Excellency, even if Fu Liangming offends you, if you want to deal with him, please first say hello to the Saint Patriarch of our Qingyun sacred sect. Otherwise, it is impossible for our Qingyun sacred sect to watch him being dealt with by you. Your Excellency, you must give Qingyun sacred sect an explanation for your killing of Fu Liangyu. Otherwise, our Qingyun sacred sect sages and powerhouses will never let it go. Several half-sages of the Qingyun sect, although they also realized that the purple-clothed youth in front of them was a strong saint, they were still extremely strong. In the words, they even brought out the saint powerhouse of their Qingyun sacred sect. Tino. They Qingyun Shengzong, but there are two saints and strong men. This is also where their confidence lies now. Chapter 45-59. Hearing the words of a group of semi-saints from the Qingyun sect, Fu Liangming seemed to have grasped the last straw, and was so excited that he was about to cry. Qingyun Shengzong is reliable. Something is true. It is not in vain to be attached to it. A few half-saints, for him, dare to challenge the saint. Sacred Qingyun sect? However, what Fu Liangming and a group of half-sages of the Qingyun sect didn't expect was that after hearing the words of the Qingyun sacred sect's half-sages, the young man in purple just glanced at the Qingyun sacred sect's group indifferently, and a twitch appeared at the corner of his mouth. Smiling contemptuously, his gaze returned to Fu Liangming. Give you 3 breaths. Duan Lingtian looked at Fu Liangming, and said as if no one else was there. Within 3 breaths, if you haven't said who the person who joined forces with you to kill Yui Bansheng, I'll check it myself. As soon as these words came out, Fu Liangming's expression changed drastically. He never expected that the person in front of him would not pay attention to the words of the Qingyun sacred sect's half-sages. He is not even afraid of the powerful saints of the Qingyun sacred sect? As for the Qingyun sacred sect and the half-sages, seeing the young man in purple who was suspected to be a saint and powerhouse so arrogant, their expressions became ugly. Your Excellency, I don't know which faction saint you are? A half-sage of Qingyun sect asked in a deep voice. Among the remaining half-sages, 2 people have already sent a summons, which was quickly sent back to the Qingyun holy sect. The target of the summons is none other than the saint and powerhouse of the Qingyun sect. This time, most of them came to the Fu family, and they also received orders from the strong saints of the Qingyun sect to come to see what happened on their behalf. Saints and strong men, while powerful, naturally have heirs, and it is impossible to do everything in person. Your Excellency, I have sent a message to our Saint Patriarch of the Qingyun sect. Your Excellency, the saint and strong man of our Qingyun sect will come soon. Before he comes, please don't act rashly, Fu Liangming. In view of the general environment, this site may be closed at any time. Please move to the permanent source replacement app, Huanyuan app. Org as soon as possible. Your Mightiness. The half-sages of the Qingyun sacred sect continued to speak one by one, protecting Fu Liangming. Of course, they might not have a deep friendship with Fu Liangming, but they did everything they could to protect Fu Liangming for Qingyun Shengzong's face. From their point of view, if the other party killed Fu Liangming like no one else after they came out, it would be tantamount to rubbing their faces against the ground with Qingyun Shengzong, which they didn't want to see. Don't allow this to happen. And Fu Liangming, just because he heard their powerful words, within 3 breaths, he confessed that he had joined hands with him to kill the person who killed half-Saint Yu Yi. Snort! Duan Lingtian snorted coldly, and after 3 breaths passed, he didn't bother to continue talking nonsense, and 2 mysterious lights shot out from his eyes, like 2 electric snakes, straight into Fu Liangming's eyes. The next moment, a dash! A shrill scream resounded throughout the world, but Fu Liangming, who was imprisoned in the void in front of him, trembled violently, as if he was suffering from great pain. At this moment, Duan Lingshan's soul force rushed into Fu Liangming's body forcefully. Straight into Fu Liangming's soul. The terrifying soul power made Fu Liangming's soul tremble, and at the same time made Fu Liangming realize a question that horrified him. Wrong. Wrong. He's not a saint. The soul power of a saint cannot be so terrifying. It's not that Fu Liangming has never been in touch with saints. He has seen the 2 saints of Qingyun's sacred sect, and even received guidance from them. Even, one of them used the power of his soul to evolve the profound truth of the law to help him practice. However, even the power of that person's soul is completely worthless in front of the power of soul that invaded his body at this time. Even this domineering soul power, after entering his body, entered his soul, causing his soul to shatter in an instant. And his consciousness also wilted in a blink of an eye, even dying like a dying candle. He is definitely an existence above a saint. Is it that Feng Qingyang? Or that Duan Lingtian? Duan Lingtian. Duan. Could it be that he is the clansman of that Yui semi-sage Duan Yue? With this thought, Fu Liangming's heart was filled with despair. And in this despair, his consciousness was completely obliterated. The originally dull eyes suddenly became dull. The head also suddenly drooped. The breath of life quickly disappeared. Boom. Rumble. Bursts of thunder sounded in the sky, and the clouds that had dissipated originally gathered together again at this moment. The sky, which was originally clearing the clouds to see the sun, fell into darkness again in an instant. Bursts of blood rain poured down from the sky. The shrill howling of ghosts and wolves also rushed into everyone's ears at this moment. And, after this horrible vision of heaven and earth appeared, it continued to spread in all directions, causing all parties to shake again. Same daytime. Not long after. In the same direction, a similar vision of heaven and earth appeared again. In the rain of blood all over the sky, there seemed to be a bright blue light shining on the sky and the earth, but after a moment of stalemate, it disappeared completely. Another half-saint has fallen. It's still in the same direction as the Fu family. This time, the one who fell was the semi-sage who was good at the law of wind. First, the semi-saint who was good at the laws of the gold system fell, and now a semi-sage who is good at the laws of the wind system has fallen? If I remember correctly, the newly promoted half-sage of the Fu family is good at the laws of the metal system. Another veteran half-sage of the Fu family, Fu Liangming, is good at the laws of the wind system. Hiss dash. God. The 2 half-saints of the Fu family were killed on the same day, right? The Fu family, who did you offend? As the saying goes, it depends on the owner to beat a dog. If the opponent is so strong, isn't he afraid of offending Qingyun's sect? This time, amidst bursts of exclamations, figures began to gather from all directions, gathering around the Fu family's residence. Soon, they saw Fu Liangming, whose body was broken into pieces and scattered in the wind. It's Fu Liangming's semi-sage. The person who killed him was the young man in purple? Those on the other side seemed to be half-sages of the Qingyun sacred sect? At this moment, Duan Lingtian and the Qingyun sacred sect's semi-sacred people seemed to be the focus of the crowd who came to watch the excitement. Duan Lingshan's face was calm. His eyes were calm. Just now, through the secret method of the soul, he has extracted from Fu Liangming's soul the memory of the sister Yu Wei who killed him. The general soul secret method can't deal with the strongest. However, the soul secret method he used just now came from the memory of the old man Wukong before the historical partition, and his soul realm completely crushed Fu Liangming, so it was not difficult to use this method on the other party. From Fu Liangming's memory, Duan Lingtian learned that when Duan Yuwei was killed, there were two other half-sages who joined forces with Fu Liangming. One's surname is Han and the other's surname is Tuoba. After the Qingyun sacred sect's half-sages came back to their senses, they were all very angry, and one who looked quite old was even trembling with anger. You actually killed Fu Liangming in front of us. Are you determined to be an enemy of our Qingyun sacred sect? There was a little more questioning in the tone. Before the other half-saints of Qingyun sect had time to condemn Duan Lingtian frowned impatiently and spoke. Crack. He had long been annoyed by the blind-eyed guise of Qingyun sacred sect, but now he was beeping again and again, which made him unable to ignore it anymore. As soon as the impatient voice of quacking came out, it popped out with a finger. In an instant, the void shook. Next moment, the aged half-sage Qingyun sect suddenly froze, and then a blood hole appeared between his eyebrows. Then centering on the blood hole, a storm of space raged, smashing him into powder in an instant. In an instant, the vision of the half-holy fallen into heaven and earth that had not yet dissipated became more and more gloomy. Just because another vision of heaven and earth with a fallen half-saint appeared. The rain of blood, which had been gradually decreasing, poured down again in an instant. Chapter 45-60. There was a dead silence. The people who were bathed in the blood rain looked at Duan Lingtian again. Only panic left. This is true even for the remaining half-sages of the Qingyun sacred sect. One by one is like a mouse seeing a cat. Especially one or two half-sages of the Qingyun sect who wanted to scold Duan Lingtian just now, but before they had time to speak, they were all frightened into a cold sweat. Fortunately, I'm not the first to speak. It is conceivable that if they were the first to speak, they must have been killed just now. He dares to kill even the half-saint of the Qingyun sect? In the Fu family's residence, the most powerful members of the Fu family, who were at a loss and even desperate because of the successive fall of the two halves of the family, looked at Duan Lingtian in a daze. Who is this person? It's a bit too domineering, right? Isn't he worried that he will usher in the wrath of the saint of Qingyun sect? Those who were also frightened by the scene in front of them, as well as a group of people who rushed over to watch the excitement, felt their scalps go numb at this moment, thinking that this young man in purple was too courageous. If he doesn't have a strong background, I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to bear the anger of Qingyun sect this time? Yes, although he is a saint, there are two saints in Qingyun holy sect. One of them is the top saint who became famous in the world and even the world many years ago. Qingyun Shengzong sighed. Along with several semi-sages who went to Fu's house, they came back with a summons and asked the saints to take action. One of the saints set off soon. However, not long after he left, within the Qingyun sacred sect, a soul card shattered, causing a great commotion among the senior leaders of the Qingyun sacred sect. Elder Crane Fox has fallen. Elder Hahu, didn't you just go to the Fu family with a few others? Could it be that the saint who killed the semi-saint of the Fu family was killed together? It's okay to kill the half-sage of the Fu family, but dare to kill the half-sage of our Qingyun sacred sect? A saint of which force? Is this trying to start a war with our Qingyun sacred sect? The killing of the Qingyun sect's half-sage shocked the Qingyun sect, and at the same time made another sage of the Qingyun sect unable to sit still. This saint of the Qingyun sacred sect has always been an existence that never sees the end of the dragon in the past, either in retreat or on the way to retreat. A novel app that has been running stably for many years, comparable to the old version of the book-chasing artifact, the source-changing app used by old bookworms, Huanyuan app. Org, however, because of the appearance of the Tian Tower some time ago, he saw the hope of stepping into the Xeon 7th level, so that he did not continue to retreat. During this time, he was also thinking of various ways, how to enter the Tongtian Tower. The current Tongtian Tower is guarded by Feng Qingyang, the first strongest 7th level powerhouse since the history was cut off, and the other party said that anyone who wants to enter the Tongtian Tower will undoubtedly die. Unexpectedly, before he could think of a solution, the backyard of his home caught fire first. A half-saint of Qingyun sect was killed. Crane Fox. This semi-sacred man is still his nephew, and the other party's achievements today are inseparable from his many times of help over the years. I want to see which saint of power dares to indiscriminately kill people from my Qingyun sacred sect. Wearing a light gray robe, the tall old man with white hair and childlike face had a cold light in his eyes. He disappeared in the same place in an instant, and when he reappeared, He had caught up with another saint who had just left not long ago. "Uncle, why are you here?" The saint who set off first from the Qingyun sacred sect, a middle-aged man, couldn't help being startled when he saw the old man chasing him. "The crane fox is dead," the old man said in a cold tone. "Junior brother Crane Fox?" The face of the middle-aged man changed drastically, but he knew that, together with the other semi-sages of Qingyun sect, the one who set off for the Fu family first was that junior brother Hu. Now he is dead. It goes without saying who killed it. Is he so courageous? How dare he even kill the half-saint of our Qingyun sect? The middle-aged man's tone was low, and his eyes were full of anger. Snort dash. The old man snorted coldly, his eyes were full of murderous intent. No matter what force is behind him, if he dares to kill someone from Qingyun sect, he will pay the price this time. Walk. Come with me to meet him. The two saints rushed at full speed, and it didn't take long to arrive near the Fu family's residence. Even before showing up at the scene, the middle-aged saint had already made a move from the air, and the terrifying power traversed the sky, passed through the unabated rain of blood, and swept across the entire Fu family's residence. Sweeping out at the same time, there is also a majestic and vast spiritual consciousness. The strength of this spiritual consciousness, once enveloped, almost everyone felt a great pressure in the air above the Fu family's residence, and even in the vicinity. It was like a towering mountain was pressing on him. Saint consciousness. There are many powerful people in the Fu family. Their eyes flashed suddenly. At this moment, they all guessed where the master of this consciousness came from. It must be from Qingyun Shengzong. The saint and strong man of Qingyun sect is here. Today, you may have the opportunity to witness a battle between saints. A group of people who came to watch the fun showed anticipation in their eyes. And the few remaining half-sages of Qingyun sacred sect finally breathed a sigh of relief after realizing this divine sense. At this moment they have a sense of security. Before that, they were all worried that the purple-clothed youth would do nothing but kill them all. But, fortunately, the other party didn't move too much, just stood there with eyes closed and rested. Duan Lingtian already knew who the other two half-sages who killed his sister Yue were, but they were not in a hurry to find each other. After all, the other party may not be in their lair yet. Through Fu Liangming's memory, he also knew that Fu Liangming had never seen those two people since he killed Duan Yue. Sacred Qingyun sect? After killing the half-sage of the Qingyun sect, Duan Lingtian naturally knew that the saint of the Qingyun sect would show up soon after hearing the whispers of everyone present. Qingyun Shengzong is an existence as famous as the Bibo Tianfu where he used to be. The saint inside is extremely powerful, and he was an unrivaled existence in the eyes of him in the past, but he is nothing in front of him now. It's possible for Qingyun Shengzong to capture those two people and bring them to me. From Duan Lingshan's point of view, those two were also half-sages of the subsidiary forces of the Qingyun sect, and it was only appropriate for the Qingyun sect to arrest them. As for whether Qingyun Shengzong listened or not, dare to be disobedient? Suddenly, Duan Lingtian seemed to have noticed something, raised his brows. There are two saints here? The moment Duan Lingtian thought this together, all the semi-sages present also sensed the second powerful divine sense, which swept across the Fu family's residence in a blink of an eye. The two saints of the Qingyun sect come out together? It seems that Qingyun Shengzong is really angry this time. Everyone was in an uproar. Everyone present had already guessed that Qingyun holy sect would come with saints, but the arrival of two saints still surprised many people. Some people even showed anticipation in their eyes. I really didn't expect that the ancestor of the Qingyun sect, who has always been a dragon but never sees the tail, is here this time. I have never seen his true face. At the same time as the second divine sense swept over, an aged and deep voice resounded at the right time. Which force do you come from? Kill me, Qingyun sacred sect's half-sage. Kill my Qingyun sacred sect subordinate force, half-sacred. Are you trying to make an enemy of my Qingyun sacred sect? Chapter 4561. Wearing a light gray robe, the tall white-haired old man with a childlike face was filled with a monstrous anger at this moment on his face that was considered kind at first. Qingyun sacred sect is where he stayed for most of his life. Ever since his master brought him back to Qingyun sacred sect, he has never seen anyone who dared to kill the Qingyun sacred sect's semi-sage indiscriminately and provoke Qingyun sacred sect. Although the semi-saint is not the most powerful existence in the Qingyun sacred sect, it is also one of the top existences, second only to the saint. Although Qingyun Shengzong is a saint force, for many years, there have been at most 2 saints at the same time, never more than 3, and often only 1. It is also because of this that the semi-sacred, placed in the Qingyun sacred sect, is definitely a pillar of existence. And today, in the area of Qingyun sacred sect, not only the half-sacred forces protected by Qingyun sacred sect were killed 2 half-sages in a row, even one of their half-sages who went out from Qingyun sacred sect died. Don't say that since I entered the Qingyun sect, this kind of thing has never happened in the Qingyun sect area. Even in the ancient history of the Qingyun sect, this kind of thing has never happened. He now feels that if he has no hope of stepping into the 7th stage of the Supreme Realm, and falls under the Supreme Tribulation in the future, he will have no face to face the ancestors of the Qingyun sacred sect. I've never seen Master Uncle lose his composure like this, angry. The middle-aged man who barely followed behind looked at the back of the old man in front of him, and it was not difficult to feel the terrifying aura emanating from the old man at this time, as well as the terrible anger and killing intent contained in it. He knew that his uncle, who was always kind in front of people, was really angry this time. However, he can also understand. Even him, the anger is soaring at this time. If the other party is a saint, if they kill the semi-sages of the semi-sacred force under the Qingyun sect, as long as the other party is willing to cooperate and do some superficial work afterwards, it will be over. After all, no matter if it is a saint from the outside world or the most powerful person from the myriad worlds, they are all extremely powerful existences. If they cannot be killed and escaped by them, it will undoubtedly be a disaster for their Qingyun sect. The other party is hiding in the dark, ready to attack their Qingyun sacred sect members at any time. It is impossible for the members of Qingyun Shengzong to hide in the sect all the time. As for him and his uncle, although they are not afraid of each other, it is impossible to protect the other members of the Qingyun sect at all times. An unknown powerhouse, even for saints like them, should not be easily provoked, unless he can kill the opponent once and for all. Greetings to Master Uncle. Greetings to Master Uncle. Welcome Master Uncle, senior brother. When the old man and the middle-aged man appeared above the Fu family's residence, the remaining half-sages of the Qingyun sect finally breathed a sigh of relief after seeing them. Greeting respectfully, he stepped out of the air, and landed behind the old man and the middle-aged man in a blink of an eye. It wasn't until this moment that they truly let go of their suspended hearts. Only because, at this moment they are safe. Before that, if that powerful saint of unknown origin attacked them, even if they joined forces, it would be difficult to resist. After all, although there is only 1 realm apart between a semi-saint and a saint, the gap in strength is too great. I am Gualin of the Qingyun sect, and the person next to me is my uncle Xueqi. The middle-aged man took a step forward and looked at the purple-clothed youth standing in the void in front of him. His face was gloomy, his eyes were full of anger, and his spiritual consciousness swept out of him, pressing on the opponent's body. 2 saints. Facing Gualin's consciousness, Duan Lingtian didn't feel oppressed at all, and even felt as if a gust of wind had blown his cheeks and body. If in the past, the sage in the outer world was comparable to the 6th-level existence of the strongest in all worlds, to him, he was like a high-ranking god, unrivaled, and even the opponent's snap of a finger was enough to wipe him out. And now, a saint, in his eyes, is nothing. However, even so, he is still eager to try, wanting to feel his own strength and the gap between them and them through the saints of the Qingyun sect in front of him. At the same time, the group of people who gathered to watch the excitement also retreated one after another after the 2 saints of the Qingyun sect arrived at the scene, and retreated to a very far place. I am deeply afraid that the war that may unfold next will affect them and Qiyu. Saint. That was the existence of the combat power ceiling in places outside the realm in the past, and even in the myriad realms. Even now, there is an existence beyond the saint born, but only 2 people. The saint is still a place outside the world, the existence closest to the ceiling in the world. The 2 saints of Qingyun sect. I didn't expect Senior Xueqi to be really alive. Senior Xueqi, in the past, he was a peerless genius who was famous outside the world. He stepped into the realm of saints a long time ago. He is a group of saints recognized as the strongest outside the world. Master Guilin is not bad. Although he only stepped into the realm of saints a few years ago, he is still a saint. In front of saints, half-saints are like chickens and dogs, vulnerable to a single blow. Yes, otherwise, how could this purple-clothed saint kill 3 half-sages in a short period of time? I don't know where this purple-clothed saint comes from. 9 out of 10 are from the 10,000 realms. The saints in the land outside the realm should all know each other, but listening to what Senior Xueqi said just now, it is obvious don't know each other. At this time, a group of people watching from afar looked at the purple figure in the distance, and there was another burst of discussion and whispering. Not just them. Even the members of the Qingyun sacred sect present, including the two great saints, basically felt the same way. Which realm of the myriad realms are you the strongest? Guolin stared at the purple-clothed youth in front of him, and asked in a deep voice. If you don't give us Qingyun Shengzong a satisfactory explanation for today's matter, I'm afraid it will be difficult to retreat unscathed. As his voice fell, the old man beside him, his spiritual consciousness further raged out, covering a large area around him in a blink of an eye, as if he wanted to seal off the surrounding area, preventing the other party from having a chance to escape. Facing the menacing Guolin, Duan Lingshan's calm expression finally changed slightly. He smiled calmly and stared at Guolin. Then I would like to see how you make it difficult for me to retreat. His words were like a fuse, which completely ignited Guolin's anger. Then I'll let you see it. As soon as the words fell, Guolin's momentum shook, and the most powerful force swept all directions, and the fiery breath permeated in an instant, but it was he who showed the law of fire in the realm of Dzogchen. In his hand, there was also a knife at the same time. The whole body of the knife was red, exuding endless heat waves. It was not known whether it was due to the material of the blade or the law of fire that Guolin had comprehended. Around Guolin's body, the space oscillated, and the terrifying power even made the semi-sages of the Qingyun sect not far behind look dignified, and retreated a certain distance in unison. Only the old man beside him didn't move at all, as if the power in Guolin's body didn't pose any threat to him. And in fact, it is true. Although Guolin has stepped into the realm of a saint, his strength is not much weaker than him. However, after all, he has been immersed in the realm of saints for many years, and in terms of strength, he is still better than Guolin. Even if I haven't seen a few of the world-venerated powerhouses of the myriad realms, I've heard of them. Unless he is a newcomer to the 10,000 realms, or a new saint from a place outside the realm. Otherwise, as long as he makes a move, I will know who he is. Xueqi didn't plan to fight with Guolin, but just stood in place and swept the formation for Guolin. In his view, even if Guolin's strength is inferior to the opponent's, he won't be at a disadvantage in a short period of time, let alone lose. As a saint, even if it is a new saint, it is not an easy task for him, a veteran saint, to defeat him. At least it is impossible to achieve within 100 moves. Wah! Crash! Guolin moved, and the whole person came out holding the knife, like a flaming sword god, flitting across the void, using the law of the fire system of the Dzogchen realm as the main, and the sword way of the four ways of heaven and earth as a supplement, and killed Duan Lingtian. Even, in order to let the other party know how powerful he is, in his body, the blood power belonging to the aborigines of the outside world is constantly sweeping up. People from all over the world have laws and clones. The aborigines of the outside world also have the power of blood as an aid. Even a saint, under the blessing of the power of the bloodline, his strength will be raised to a higher level, because the power of the bloodline is generally assisted to improve on the original basis. The stronger the people from the outside world, the greater the power of the bloodline will improve their power. Roar dash! Roar dash! The howls of beasts that shook heaven and earth vibrated in the void, as if resounding between heaven and earth. But when the power of the blood in Guolin's body came out, a burst of blood suddenly surged on his body, turning into a blood tiger phantom. Just like the blessing of Dharma, once it appeared, it made Guolin's earth-shattering aura further skyrocket. You try to pick me up first. Guolin yelled violently, and the knife in his hand swiped out in a blink of an eye, as if pulling all the power of the flames between heaven and earth, and slashed towards Duan Lingshan's place. When the knife was swung, the sky and the earth changed color, and the fire seemed to color the whole world. The phantom of the blood tiger on Guolin's body became even bigger, as if it had turned into an indomitable beast god. Roar dash! The roar of the blood tiger suddenly became louder. Hum! The sword light that seemed to have eyes circled an arc in the void and swept towards Duan Lingtian. Even if Daomong didn't target the group of onlookers present, except for some semi-saints, the existences under the semi-saints were all forced back again and again by the terrifying aura extended by Daoguang. Too strong. This is the strength of a saint. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, wherever the sword light passed, the space continued to crack, as if the end was approaching. Chapter 4562. Guolin, in the Qingyun sacred sect, is the number 2 person after Xueqi. As a saint, He used his own strength to protect the Qingyun sacred sect when Zhao Ani was usually in seclusion. Although many people thought in the past that even if he stepped into the realm of a saint, his strength was still inferior to Zhao Ani. However, today, following Guolin's move, he taught the onlookers a hard lesson. Even if Guolin is not as strong as Zhao Ani, his strength is far beyond that of a half-saint. It made the sky and the earth change color, as if the earth-shattering flame blade, tearing through the space all the way, approached Duan Lingtian in an instant, and was about to hit Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Duan Lingtian still didn't see any signs of making a move. What is he doing? It can't be that you were scared stupid, right? It's definitely impossible. As a saint, even if he's not as strong as Senior Zhao Ani, he's still not as good as Lord Guolin. The onlookers burst into excitement. You, just this little strength? A calm voice sounded. But Duan Lingtian spoke in a contemptuous tone. At the same time as he opened his mouth, he saw the space around him vibrate and fold like ripples, and then the sharp sword energy spread across and across, killing all directions. Stop, 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 stop. The overwhelming sword glow instantly condensed into a human form in the void, turning into a giant. Then with a big palm, the giant slapped the menacing flaming blade that seemed to split Duan Lingtian in two. The next moment, boom. There was a loud noise, and there was no aftermath of power raging, only to see the giant's palm fall, and that hand, which was completely condensed from the sword glow, annihilated the flame sword glow in an instant. It was like a small ray of flame being extinguished by someone casually. The next moment, as the giant closed his hand and stopped making any movements, the surrounding space cracks that appeared due to the giant's attack and the passing of the flame blade gradually closed. After the storm, there was peace and calm. How can it be? After a moment of dead silence, Guolin spoke first, his tone full of shock and disbelief. Then he shot again. It was still that kind of flaming sword glow, which was more powerful than the previous flame sword glow, killing Duan Lingtian. Boom. It's a pity that he still followed in the footsteps of the previous flaming sword light, and was slapped away by the giant. How can this be? So outrageous? Even Senior Zhao Ani doesn't have such terrifying strength, does he? A group of people watching in the distance also came back to their senses one after another at this time. Their faces were horrified, and many of them stared wide-eyed, as if they had seen a ghost. The semi-sages of the Qingyun sacred sect also looked at each other at this time, and they all saw shock and inconceivability in each other's eyes. Even Zhao Ani. At this moment, the anger towards Duan Lingtian on his face has disappeared, replaced by shock and panic. At the same time, a terrifying divine consciousness swept out from the purple-clothed youth in his vision, instantly crushing the divine consciousness extended by him and Guolin as saints. Puff dash. Guolin was unprepared. He vomited blood on the spot. His complexion was as pale as paper, as if he had been backlashed by divine consciousness. Zhao Ani, the #1 member of the Qingyun sacred sect, and a veteran saint with a reputation resounding all over the world. His complexion was also turning blue and white at this time, the blood in his body was shaking, and his soul was trembling. You! Guolin shuddered, came back to his senses, and when he looked at Duan Lingtian again, his eyes were full of panic and uneasiness, as if a child who had done something wrong saw his parents. Just because he thought of one thing at the same time. Zhao Ani had already bowed to Duan Lingtian at 90 degrees and bowed to Duan Lingtian from the air. When he spoke again, his tone seemed a little more trembling. Greetings. Greetings to Lord Duan Lingtian. Lord Duan Lingtian. As soon as Zhao Ani finished speaking, Guolin finally came back to his senses, his complexion turned paler, and he bowed his hands tremblingly. Guolin, pay homage to Lord Duan Lingtian. I didn't know your identity just now, and I offended you. Please forgive me. In fact, Guolin also reacted just now. To be able to have such terrifying strength, to crush his full strength with one blow, and even his spiritual consciousness can easily defeat the spiritual consciousness of him and his uncle, except for the two existences who surpassed saints and world-respected realms that appeared some time ago. Who else? Feng Qingyang. When he and his uncle went to Tongtian Pagoda last time, they had already seen each other and recognized each other, and they were not the same person as the person in front of them. Well, the answer is obvious. The person in front of me is another existence who has stepped into the 7th level of Xian. Duan Lingtian. Even, this one is more terrifying than Feng Qingyang. Feng Qingyang, with the cultivation base of the middle god, comprehend the law to the state of great perfection, and comprehend the way of swordsmanship to the 7th level, with the cultivation base of the middle god, overcome the taboo realm. The taboo situation faced by the middle level god, if replaced by another middle level who also comprehends the law and swordsmanship to the point where the wind is light, 9 out of 10 can easily overcome it. And like Duan Ling Tian, the high-ranking gods cultivated to survive the taboo realm, based on the calculations of these saints, even if they had Duan Lingshan's conditions when they were in the high-ranking gods, they could face the forbidden realm heavenly tribulation. There is not much confidence in successfully crossing the tribulation. Duan Ling Tian. It's Lord Duan Ling Tian who stepped into the 7th stage of Xian through the announcement of the heavenly Tao some time ago? This is Lord Duan Ling Tian? Damn it! No wonder it's so terrifying. He defeated Master Guolin's attack in a matter of seconds, and injured Master Guolin with his spiritual consciousness in an instant. A group of people watching from a distance, although far apart, but with their cultivation level, they still clearly listened to the words of Zhao Ani and Guolin. Because of this, they all responded one after another. Unanimously remembered. Some time ago, what they saw was the words of heaven that could be seen by the land outside the world, and even all life in the world. Congratulations to Duan Ling Tian from the Nishan realm. After surviving the taboo realm, he successfully broke through and became the 2nd strongest existence of the 7th level after the historical barrier, surpassing Jesuan and saints. After the history is cut off, the existence of the 2nd Xian of the 7th order. Existence above saints and realms. He is Duan Ling Tian? The survivors of the Fu family all showed despair at this time. They never dreamed that this person who broke into their Fu family and killed the 2 half-sages of the Fu family one after another turned out to be the one who stepped into the Xian's first place some time ago. Duan Ling Tian of the 7th level. This is an existence above the saint. At any rate, they are people of the semi-holy power, and they have naturally heard that the Tian Tian pagoda where the way of heaven descended is now guarded by another existence of the 7th level strongest, and no saints or world-venerated powerhouses are allowed to enter. In the land outside the world, and even in the 10,000 worlds, there are still many saints and world-venerated powerhouses. But to this day, I have never heard that these existences united to deal with Feng Qingyang and fight for the opportunity to enter the Tongtian Tower. What does this mean? It means that they are afraid of the wind. It shows that they feel that even if they join forces with each other, they may not necessarily be Feng Qingyang's opponents. Of course, it's also possible that they don't want to be that early bird, and they are worried that even if they defeat Feng Qingyang, they will become a victim during the match. With cultivation at their level, it is naturally impossible to take risks and die easily. Unless you are desperate. For example, there is no certainty about the next Xian's catastrophe. However, even if such people are willing to fight, their number is limited after all, and they themselves know that it is difficult to make a big deal in front of Feng Qingyang. Therefore, to this day, everyone is honest and obedient. I'd rather wait a while longer. They all felt that it was impossible for Feng Qingyang to stay there forever. Duan Ling Tian? The demi-sages of the Qingyun sacred sect were also pale at this time. They never expected that the person in front of them was the strong man who was already famous outside the world and even in the world, Duan Ling Tian. Hu Bai is dead. At this moment, they also realized that the semi-holy crane fox who came with them was dead for nothing. Facing the saint, Qingyun Shengzong can still stand up for Hu. But facing the existence above the saint, even with the power of the Qingyun sect, not only can't do anything, but will be counter-killed. Qingyun Shengzong is destined to admit defeat. Didn't you see that the 2 saints and powerhouses of Qingyun sect have already bowed their heads? Greetings to Lord Duan Ling Tian. Greetings to Lord Duan Ling Tian. Following the Qingyun sacred sect semi-sages taking the lead, the rest of the Fu family and a group of people who came to join in the fun all opened their mouths to salute Duan Ling Tian. The tone is full of awe. How do you know him, Duan Ling Tian? Duan Ling Tian glanced at Zhao Ani in surprise. After all, it was announced by the heavenly Tao some time ago that besides him, there is also his master, Feng Qingyang, who has stepped into the 7th level of Xian. Master Duan Ling Tian, I was fortunate enough to meet Lord Feng Qingyang on the side of Tongtian Tower. Zhao Ani responded repeatedly. When Duan Ling Tian heard the words, he suddenly realized that he had forgotten about it. Before he came to the land outside the world this time, he also heard from the people who defied the gods that his master Feng Qingyang was guarding the Tongtian Tower, preventing people from outside the world from being exposed. The sages and venerables of the earth and myriad worlds enter. Obviously. This saint of the Qingyun sect has already been near the Tongtian pagoda and has seen his master Feng Qingyang. Master. Thinking of his master again, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help feeling a little excited in the depths of his eyes. When things are over here, let's go see the master first. Speaking of which, I haven't seen master for a long time. He also never expected that his master would walk in front of him and step into the 7th level of Xion first. Master Duan Lington, it was I, Guilin, who did not know Mount Tai and offended you. Seeing that Duan Ling Tian ignored him, Guilin panicked again. If your lord insists on taking my life, I, Guilin, have nothing to say, but please let Qing Yun Shengzong go. This matter has nothing to do with them. Chapter 45-63. If it were in the past, Guilin would never have dreamed that he, who had stepped into the realm of a saint, would one day bow his head in fear and beg for mercy in front of someone. The saint in the past stood outside the world, even the existence at the pinnacle of the myriad worlds, an existence like a ceiling. So high above you, so mighty. Overlook all beings and be invincible in the world. However, all of this, with the appearance of the existence announced by the Tao of Heaven after the two of them passed through the taboo realm of catastrophe and stepped into the 7th level of the strongest, it has completely changed. Big change. In the past, the high-ranking saints and world venerables, the gap that they could not bridge, was crossed by two newcomers later, and they walked ahead of them without warning, which made them unexpected. It's too late when you know it, and you can't stop it. Normal people who have stood at the top for a long time, who would want someone to overwhelm them? Not to mention those saints and Jesuin who have stood at the peak for a long time, it is Feng Qingyang who dared to step into the 7th level of Xion not long ago. Why do they guard the side of Tongtian Tower and prevent people from entering it? Don't you want them to take a shortcut and catch up with him? If the sages and world venerables in the land outside the world and the world had known that those two rising stars would walk ahead of them and become the first and second existence of the 7th level strongest after the history was cut off, they would definitely not hesitate. Obstruct the other party at all costs, even at the expense of strangling the other party in the cradle. And now it's too late. For the two opponents, the general trend has come. For example, Duan Ling Tian in front of him, as one of them, easily crushed his full blow with every move, and made his heart tremble, realizing the horror of the 7th level. The gap is really too big. That was the gap that made him almost desperate. With such an existence, it was easy to kill him, and killing his uncle Zhaoani was just a matter of gestures, and killing Qing Yun's sacred sect was also simple. For Qing Yun Shengzong, he bowed his head. There is only hope deep in my heart, without the slightest humiliation. Because, in front of the other party, there is no need to feel humiliated. Any saint or Jesuin would also be powerless in front of the other party. Master Duan Ling Tian. Before Duan Ling Tian could speak, Zhaoani, who was standing by the side, also said pleadingly, "This time, if you can forgive Guilin, forgive Qing Yun's sacred sect. From now on, Qing Yun's sacred sect, I hope that you, my lord, will follow suit." As the first member of Qing Yun's sacred sect, he spoke up. Of course, there is no reluctance. Because he knew in his heart that with such an existence, even if Qing Yun Shengzong hadn't provoked the other party this time, if the other party really wanted to subdue Qing Yun Shengzong could only accept his fate and had no second choice. Several semi-saints of the Qing Yun sect who were standing not far away had their hearts hanging at this moment, fearing that the young man in purple in front of him would kill them and destroy the Qing Yun sect in a fit of anger. They're dead. But their family members and disciples are still in the sect. For a moment, their hearts were filled with apprehension. And a little helpless. As for the survivors of the Fu family, when they saw the two saints of the Qing Yun sect begging for mercy in front of each other, their faces turned pale from fright, and they hurriedly knelt down on the ground and begged for mercy. "My lord, Duan Ling Tian, please forgive me, please forgive me. My lord, spare me. I am willing to leave the Fu family. My lord, although my father is a member of the Fu family, he is already dead. I am willing to sever the father-son relationship with him, change my surname from now on, and no longer call myself the Fu family." The group of people who rushed over to join in the fun were also greatly shocked at this time. Although they had long guessed that the strong man who could make Tiandao publicize the Tiandao characters at that time was definitely not an ordinary person, but they did not expect it to be so terrifying. Saints in front of him are like chickens and dogs, vulnerable to a single blow. The gap is too big. It's outrageous. It's too strong. If I can have his strength in my lifetime, even if I have to die in a few days, I will be willing. It is even more so secretly in a person's heart. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian, who was dressed in purple and stood floating, seemed to have become the master of the lives of all living beings. With a single word, he could determine the life and death of saints, and even the power of saints. In full view, Duan Lingtian glanced at Zhao Ani and Guilin indifferently, and said in a calm tone, "Today's matter, if you want to expose it, it's not impossible." Hearing this, Zhao Ani and Guilin were both shocked, and their faces showed surprise. "In 3 months' time, I will go to Qingyun's sacred sect in person, and then I hope to see these two people." Speaking of this, Duan Lingshan's spiritual consciousness extended out, and in the form of a soul picture, he passed on the appearances of the other two half-sages who jointly killed Yuye's half-sage Duan Yuwei with the Fu family's half-sage back then, and passed them on to them. Both names are attached. Han Jiang, Tuobel Yanqing. They are all half-sages in the area of Qingyun's sacred sect. Even if the two of them don't know each other, it is impossible for the other half-sages of Qingyun's sacred sect to know each other. If you catch them at that time, I will not pursue today's matter. If one person is missing. Snort dash. Although he didn't say much, the threatening tone in his tone made Zhao Ani and Guilin terrified, and they didn't dare to neglect in their hearts. After the voice fell, Duan Lingshan's figure flickered, and he left the sight of everyone present, as if he disappeared out of thin air. Although through the memory of Fu Liangming, the semi-sage of the Fu family, he also knew where the two semi-sages usually practiced, but one of them was a casual cultivator and was often away from the training ground. Now that there are 2 errand runners sent up, he doesn't bother to look for them one by one. 3 months later, just go to Qingyun's sacred sect to face the 2 half-sages directly. At that time, it can be regarded as complete revenge for his sister Yu Wei. After Duan Lingtian left, Zhao Ani, Guilin, and the half-saints of the Qingyun sect immediately breathed a sigh of relief. The rest of the Fu family also looked like they had survived the catastrophe. Master Duan Lingtian, let the 2 saints of Qingyun sect help him find someone? Who are you looking for? Is there anyone else who dares to offend Lord Duan Lingtian? A group of people who joined in the fun were discussing and whispering at this time. Of course, there are also some smart people among them. Master Duan Lingtian, the 2 people who are looking for are probably related to the half-sage of the Fu family. After all, he appeared here this time because he took the initiative to deal with the half-sage of the Fu family. The Fu family obviously offended him. To be precise, it was the half-saint of the Fu family who offended him. After all, the other party has left now and has not done anything to the rest of the Fu family, so it is not difficult to guess something from this. At the same time, several semi-sages of Qingyun's sacred sect also left with Zhao Ani and Guilin. Han Jiang? Tuobel Yanqing? Uncle, you said he asked us to find these 2 people, why? Guilin sent a voice transmission to ask Zhao Ani. Now he hasn't recovered from the panic just now, his mind is full of blood, but he deeply remembers who Duan Lingtian asked him to find. He is no stranger to Han Jiang and Tuobel Yanqing. One of them is the most powerful Han family of the semi-sacred force under their Qingyun sacred sect, the only semi-sacred of the Han family, and he has met him several times. The other person, although he has nothing to do with their Qingyun sacred sect, is also a well-known casual cultivator in their Qingyun sacred sect area. Although he has never met him, he has heard of him. If I'm not wrong, it should be that these 2 people, like the 2 half-sages of the Fu family, have offended that one. Zhao Ani was much calmer than Guilin. Thinking of the other party appearing in their Qingyun sacred sect area, the first thing he did was to kill the 2 half-sages of the Fu family. Obviously, this was unlikely to be a whim. They are so courageous. Dare to offend such a terrible person? Guilin was taken aback. Hearing Guilin's words, Zhao Ani said angrily, "Don't forget, that person stepped into the most powerful realm not long ago. The text of the Tao of Heaven, the first time it was announced, made him famous outside the world and in the world. He was still a high-ranking god. That one has been away for so long, and you haven't recovered from the shock just now?" Zhao Ani seemed a little speechless. Guilin was stunned again when he heard this, and then smiled awkwardly. "I really haven't recovered. The main reason is that I really thought I was going to be killed just now. I'm not afraid of my uncle's jokes. That was the first time I was so desperate in my life. Even before I joined the sect, I was in danger of life and death, but I have never been so desperate. To become a saint, Guilin is naturally not an ordinary person, and his temperament is not bad at ordinary times. But this time, it was indeed that the opponent's strength was too terrifying, which frightened him a lot. Yes. A few years ago, the first time the text of the Tao of Heaven appeared, It was publicized to the quartet, saying that he had survived the forbidden realm of heavenly calamity with the cultivation base of a high-ranking god, and he was the first one to overcome the taboo realm of heavenly calamity after the history was cut off. Figure. Guilin completely remembered. It must be the semi-sage of the Fu family, as well as Han Jiang and Tuoba Lianqing, who offended him when he was just a high-ranking deity. Xueqi guessed and said, "Not long after he stepped into the Xeon 7th level, he came to our side, went to the Fu family, and killed 2 half-sages in a row, which shows how much he hates the half-sages of the Fu family. If he had known earlier that the people of the Fu family had offended him, and that he was the one who killed the semi-sage of the Fu family, there would be no need for us Qingyun sect to stand up for it. It's a pity, Crane Fox. The semi-sacred Hahu of the Qingyun sect who was killed by Duanling Tian was also Zhao Enya's nephew. Humph. Those 2 from the Fu family, Han Jiang and Tuoba Lianqing, are really trash." A flash of contempt and disdain flashed in Guilin's eyes. A high-ranking deity can survive under their noses, and even has such achievements as now. When they offended each other, how good would it be if they could kill each other? It's good now. For nothing. There is an extra existence on our heads in the land outside the world and the world. Certainly. Guilin's words were also spoken by Transhan to Xueqi, but he didn't have the guts to say nonsense on the surface. He was afraid that the other party hadn't left yet, and was just hiding in the dark and staring at them. Chapter 45-64. Hearing Guilin's words, Xueqi secretly sighed. Why didn't he scold those trash in his heart? Perhaps those trash, because they saw that the other party was a high-ranking god, could not be a threat to them, so they ignored it. But it was hard to imagine that the other party would fly into the sky one day, surpass them, and destroy their strength with a snap of the fingers. Of course, the past is like the wind, and the matter has come to this point, and those few trash can only bear the consequences of their one-sidedness. At this moment, Xueqi and Guilin didn't know. Before that, Duanling Tian had only met Fu Liangyu, the newly promoted half-sage of the Fu family, but he had never met the other 3 half-sages. As for the hatred, it is not his own hatred. It is purely for helping others to avenge. Send them back first, and then you and I will personally take action to bring the 2 of them back to the sect. Xueqi said to Guilin. Then Han Jiang must be in the Han family. As for Tuoba Lianqing, it may not be in his usual training place. Give Han Jiang to me, and Tuoba Lianqing is up to you to bring it back. If Tuoba Lianqing is still in his usual training place, you don't have to worry too much about it. Just because he's not there. Whether it is Han Jiang or Tuoba Lianqing, they are only half-sages, and it couldn't be easier for them to bring them back to Qingyun's sect. Even, as long as they issued an order to inform the 2 of them, the 2 of them would not hesitate and would come to Qingyun's sacred sect immediately to meet them. After all, the 2 of them are also overlords in the Qingyun's sacred sect area. If you still want to hang out here, you naturally dare not offend them easily. However, to be on the safe side, the 2 of them decided to go out in person. 3 months later, when Duanling Tian came to Qingyun's sacred sect, if he didn't see the 2 of them, Qingyun's sacred sect would definitely bear his anger, which they didn't want to see. Humph. Even if that Tuoba Lianqing left his cultivation place in Qingyun's sacred sect, I will do my best to bring him back to the sect. In Guilin's eyes, there was a cold light that his mother could not doubt, which was fierce and frightening. After leaving the area of Qingyun's sacred sect, Duanling Tian went directly to the location of Tongtian Pagoda. In the past, the Heavenly Tao publicized the Heavenly Tao text of the Tongtian Tower, which he still remembers in his heart. After the history is cut off, the first Xeon of the 7th level appears, and everyone should celebrate it. From now on, a Tian Tower will appear above the central sea area of the Outer Worlds. Saints and half-step world lords can go to pass through the level. Once they pass through all the levels and successfully pass the level, they will be able to get a Heavenly Tao talisman, which can block taboos. There are 3 catastrophes. As for which catastrophe to block, you can choose independently. Therefore, he went directly to the sky above the central sea area of this outside world. Soon, Duanling Tian arrived at the destination, and from a distance, he saw the Tongtian Pagoda, which looked like a towering giant mountain, hanging above the sky, with mysterious light shining, extremely gorgeous. Even far away, he could feel the terrifying aura emanating from Tongtian Tower, as if he was telling others how good it was. The closer the distance was, Duanling Tian found that he had entered the envelope of a divine consciousness. This spiritual consciousness is much stronger than the 2 saints of the Qingyun sacred sect that he met before, even comparable to him. It is not difficult for him to guess that it is the spiritual consciousness of his master Feng Qingyang. Master. Duan Lingshan's spiritual consciousness extended out, communicated with the coming spiritual consciousness, and greeted respectfully. After the voice fell, he accelerated and reached the side of Tongtian Tower. A familiar figure appeared before his eyes. After many years, the master is still the same as before, but the aura on his body is much more restrained than before, but his eyes are extremely deep, like a black hole in space, mysterious and unpredictable. Xiao Tian. Feng Qingyang stood up, looked at Duan Lingtian in front of him, with a bright smile on his face. I saw the text of the Way of Heaven, and you have also stepped into the 7th level. Congratulations, Master, for becoming the first existence of the 7th level Xian after the history is cut off. Duan Lingtian laughed. He has always been grateful to the Master in front of him. The other party is his enlightener in the way of swordsmanship. Without the other party, he would not have grown rapidly in the past, and his progress has been amazing, and the other party has even indirectly helped him many times on his growth path. Many of them were on the line of life and death, saving his life. Master stepped into the 7th level of Xian, and he felt happy from the bottom of his heart. I'm also lucky. I was lucky enough to get the inheritance of the Time Sword Senior, so that I can make rapid progress along the law and achieve today's achievements. Feng Qingyang sighed, and the smile on his face became brighter. Now, both you and my master and apprentice have stepped into the 7th level of Xian, and it will be a good story to spread it. That's right, most of them now probably only know that the two of us came from the God-defying realm, and they don't know the master-student relationship between us. Duan Lingtian nodded, and the curve of the corner of his mouth became clearer. Thank you, Master, for helping Kier get rid of the soul imprisonment. Thinking of his wife Kier, who has been sent into the small world inside his body now, Duan Lingtian thanked him repeatedly. There is no need to be so polite between you and me. Feng Qingyang waved his hands and said, That's your wife, and also my apprentice-in-law. Moreover, even if I don't take action, you can help her get rid of that soul imprisonment at any time. After Duan Lingtian heard the words, he didn't say much on this topic, but his gratitude never diminished. Although the words were just like what his master said, but his master was able to help Kier release the soul imprisonment immediately after the breakthrough, which showed that he was always in his heart as a disciple. For him, take this matter to heart. Xiaotian, what do you think of me guarding the side of Tongtian Tower and preventing those saints in Jesuan from entering Tongtian Tower? Feng Qingyang asked Duan Lingtian. How else can I see it? Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled, and his eyes turned cold in an instant. If I step into the 7th step before Master, I will also be like Master, guarding here and not letting them go the way of heaven for them. Arranged shortcuts. If I break through first, I'm afraid I will do the same thing that day. Heaven's not fair. Tian Pagoda, I didn't see him arrange it before, but now he has arranged it. Isn't this clearly aimed at you and me, Master? Why do we have to face the forbidden realm of catastrophe on our own? But they have a shortcut. After speaking, the smile on the corner of Duan Lingshan's mouth also turned into a sneer. Master. Duan Lingtian continued. After I finish arranging my family and some things, I will come to pick you up and guard this Tongtian Tower. From now on, you and I will take turns guarding the Tongtian Pagoda, and no one can enter. On this matter, he did not intend to give in. As for whether Tian Dao will attack them, he really wasn't worried about this. If Tian Dao can attack them without any scruples, why bother to create the Tian Pagoda? Wouldn't it be enough to just kill them? Moreover, he inherited the complete memory of the super-strong old man Wu Kong before the historical partition, so he naturally knew that even during the historical partition, Tian Dao had never directly killed someone. There should be some kind of restriction. As for the catastrophe of heaven and earth that year, causing all life to perish, returning the world to chaos, and cutting off history, according to the old man Wukong's own guess, it may not necessarily be what heaven did to them. It is very likely that there is another hidden secret. Chapter 45-65. Haha. Feng Qingyang laughed heartily, with a free and easy demeanor. Shoutin, what you said completely touched my heart. However, you don't need to take turns with me. I just stay here alone. Anyway, it's the same wherever you practice. In the next period of time, you'd better spend time with your family. Having said that, he paused for a moment, as if remembering something, looked at Duan Lingtian, and said solemnly, You must have noticed that after stepping into the 7th level of Xian, the small world in our body has also undergone a transformation. It is enough for many existences below Xeon to practice in the closed small world inside the body. The aura near the tree of life is so rich that it will never lose to the place outside the world, or even the place with the most aura in the world. If your family and friends are willing, they can all enter the small world inside your body to practice, and it is safer there. He is a person who can be said to have no worries, but his disciple is different. He has many family members and friends. If he is not careful, he may be used to threaten him. After listening to Master Feng Qingyang's words, Duan Ling Tian also nodded solemnly, thought about this question seriously, and felt that it made sense. Certainly. He also knows that although the small world in his body is suitable for cultivation, it is very boring, and not everyone is willing to stay in it. On freedom or outside freedom. I'll ask them for their opinion then. Duan Ling Tian nodded and said, if they don't want to, I'll go to Lord Shao and talk about it. Let the small world in my body replace one of the planes of the gods in the Nishan realm and become one of the planes of the gods in the Nishan realm. The Tao of Heaven is obviously intentionally pointing out a road for saints and Jiezun to hope to overcome the taboo realm and catastrophe. This is the benefit he gives to those people. But now, this road was blocked by his master and him, preventing those people from going on the road. If it were him who was the Tao of Heaven, even if he couldn't directly attack him and his master, he would try every means to give those saints and masters a chance to go on the road. Master, then I will deal with my affairs first. If you have something to do, you can send the Law Avatar back to the Xia family in the God-defying realm to find me at any time, and I will leave a Law Avatar there. Before leaving, Duan Ling Tian greeted Master Feng Qingyang. Good. Feng Qingyang responded and watched Duan Ling Tian leave with a gratified smile on his face. At the same time, his gaze fell into the distance, his thoughts wandered, and his memory seemed to return to the scene when his disciple was still in the secular plane many years ago. At that time, he was already the Emperor of Nirvana, one of the planes of the heavens, standing high above, overlooking one of the planes of the heavens, and all living beings bowed down. But his disciple has not yet become an immortal. Finally caught up. Thinking that before his breakthrough this time, he was surpassed a lot by this disciple, Feng Qingyang sighed again, feeling that he had finally saved his face as a master. Even if he knew that no matter whether his strength was surpassed or not, his disciple would not disrespect him because of it, but deep down he had to admit that he still cared a little. It is something to be proud of that blue comes out of blue and is better than blue, but it is often accompanied by a little helplessness deep in my heart. After separating from Master Feng Qingyang, Duan Ling Tian was not in a hurry to return to Nishan realm to find family and friends. It was Feng Su Yufeng, who went to the vast land on one side of the sea area, and entered a lofty mountain. The atmosphere in it was so chilling that he almost fell here. Within the mountains, most of the place is barren, and sometimes there are monsters rushing past, rolling up dust, and disappearing in front of them in a blink of an eye. Here, it is the Red Demon Ridge. In the past, he almost fell here. This place was also the first stop on land he arrived at after he came to the outside world and accidentally appeared in the sea area. The owner of the Red Demon Ridge is an extremely strong man named Red Demon, who is suspected to have been seriously injured in the last 10,000 years Xeon tribulation, and urgently needs to find a new body to seize. The Red Devil wants to find a new body that fits the conditions as perfectly as possible. Because, the bloodline secret method of their family can only use the perfect method of seizing the body once in a lifetime, which is a heaven-defying method that other lives do not have. At that time, Duan Ling Tian was considered young, but the Red Devil should have to see whether he met other conditions. So he set up many tests and forced him to participate. However, before the Red Devil finished screening, he escaped from the Red Devil Ridge with the help of others. Red Devil, the old man is here, and you don't come out to see him? Duan Ling Tian stood in the sky above the Red Demon Ridge. His eyes were calm, his tone was calm, although his voice was not loud, it was clearly heard by all the creatures in the Red Demon Ridge. As his voice fell, there were quite a few figures rising from the sky in the Red Demon Ridge. They were the personal demon guards under the command of the Red Demon, and there were even a few figures that Duan Ling Tian had some impression of. Chapter 4566. Somewhat familiar. The few people who showed up looked at the purple-clothed youth in front of them, and one of them couldn't help muttering to himself, as if he had seen him before. As the puppet centurion of the Lord of the Red Demon Ridge, the Red Demon, he has not left the Red Demon Ridge for many years. In other words, there is a high probability that he met the other party in Red Demon Ridge. Isn't he Duan Ling Tian? The other Golem Centurion also felt that the person in front of him was familiar, and soon remembered when and where he had seen each other. It was in the Red Demon Ridge many years ago that he had seen him. The first time I saw each other was when Wu Tsong, the puppet commander, fought against each other. At that time, the opponent was only a middle-level god, but it seemed to be a tie with Wu Tsong, and even broke out in the end, almost escaping from Red Demon Ridge. If Wu Tsong hadn't opened the formation barrier left by Master Chimo Ridge, the opponent would have already escaped. The formation barrier appeared, and Lord Red Demon appeared and took down the opponent. Later, the other party made another attack and powerfully killed Wu Tsong, one of the strongest under Lord Red Demon, in the Red Demon Ridge, shocking all their puppets. At that moment, they knew that looking at the Red Demon Ridge, only Lord Red Demon could hold down the opponent. Originally thought that the other party would eventually become Lord Red Demon's target of seizing the house. But later they were shocked to learn that the other party escaped from Red Demon Ridge under the nose of Lord Red Demon. That time, Lord Red Demon killed many golems to vent his anger in a fit of anger. The entire Red Devil Ridge is bleeding like a river. They never expected that many years later, they would see Duan Ling Tian who escaped from Red Demon Ridge again. Was he so courageous? Aren't you afraid that Master Red Demon will take him down? Although Lord Red Demon now has a new body and does not need other bodies to seize the body, it is still an easy task to take down the opponent and make the opponent a puppet. This Ling Tian, since he escaped back then, dare to come back? Several goblin centurions couldn't figure it out. Why did Duan Ling Tian, who had already escaped from Red Demon Ridge and regained his freedom, run back to Red Demon Ridge? Although some time ago they also saw the publicity of Duan Ling Tian in Tiandao script many times, but they didn't contact Duan Ling Tian in front of them, they just thought it was a person with the same name and surname. They subconsciously felt that when they saw Duan Ling Tian last time, it was not many years since now, so it must be impossible for them to be the same person. Duan Ling Tian? The Red Demon appeared, no longer the body of the past, but another body. The owner of this body, Duan Ling Tian, still has some impressions, and he was also one of the young geniuses imprisoned by the Red Demon back then. After the Red Demon appeared, his consciousness spread out and swept towards Duan Ling Tian, as if he was surprised by Duan Lingshan's return and wanted to spy on Ling Tian. Red Demon, long time no see. Faced with the sweeping of the divine sense, the terrifying aura swept the four directions, making several puppet centurions retreat again and again. The Scarlet Demon, but Duan Lingshan's face remained unchanged, and with a calm smile, the divine sense also swept out. For a moment, Duan Ling Tian didn't move, but extended an extremely terrifying momentum, pressing towards the Red Demon. The Red Devil's consciousness instantly collapsed. Wow dash! Under the oppression of Duan Lingshan's consciousness and the extended aura, the Red Demon spit out a mouthful of blood without any warning. His complexion was as white as paper in an instant. His childish holes contracted sharply, and his body trembled. Just at this moment, those two heavenly words that he saw a few years ago appeared in his mind without any sign. Congratulations to Duan Ling Tian, the high-ranking in the Nishan realm, who has successfully passed through the taboo realm, and is expected to become the first 7th-level powerhouse after the history is cut off, surpassing the world's revered and saints. Congratulations to Duan Ling Tian from the Nishan realm. After surviving the taboo realm, he successfully broke through and became the second strongest existence of the 7th level after the historical barrier, surpassing Jesuin and saints. There were two heavenly words, and when he saw the first one, he thought of Duan Ling Tian who he wanted to take away when he escaped from Red Demon Ridge. However, he felt that it could not be the same person. When he saw the second heavenly Tao text later, he felt even more impossible to be the same person. Even today, when Duan Ling Tian appeared again in Scarlet Demon Ridge and delivered it to his door, he never thought that this Duan Ling Tian was that Duan Ling Tian, until this moment. Duan Ling Tian crushed his consciousness, and just because of his aura, he vomited blood from the air, wounded his lungs, and the small world inside his body was turned upside down. He suddenly realized, the Duan Ling Tian in front of him who he could easily control in the past is the Duan Ling Tian announced by the Tiandao text. Now, one of the two most powerful existences in the world beyond, and even in the world. An existence above saints and world venerables. How can this be? Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian. Could it be that he is Duan Ling Tian who was announced by the heavenly Tao text, has stepped into the 7th level of Xian, and is stronger than a saint? Those puppet centurions were also stunned by the scene in front of them at this time, and at the same time thought of the two heavenly words about Duan Ling Tian. Their hearts trembled, and they never thought that the situation would change so suddenly. The first time we met back then, He was just a little guy with a middle-level god, but now, he has already stood in a place outside the world, or even the top of the world. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have dared to dream of such an outrageous thing. At this moment, their souls are trembling. Master Duan Ling Tian. The Red Devil was so frightened that he knelt down, trembling all over and trembling in his soul. No wonder. No wonder this Duan Ling Tian dared to go and come back today after he escaped from Scarlet Devil Ridge that year, not to send him to seek death, but to settle old scores with him. Lord Duan Ling Tian, I know that what I did to you in the past will never be redeemed by death. However, I still hope that my lord will spare my life. I am willing to follow my lord and be your slave. After confirming that the Duan Ling Tian in front of him was the Duan Ling Tian in the text of the Tao of Heaven, the Red Demon was completely desperate, and couldn't even raise the slightest thought of fighting back. How to fight back? He is almost at the bottom of the strongest, and the existence of the fourth level strongest can be easily killed. What can he use to fight this powerful who is more terrifying than saints and world venerables? Boring. Duan Ling Tian shook his head, but he didn't see any movement immediately. Not far away, the Red Demon kneeling in the void suddenly froze, and then shattered like a dream bubble. Red Devil is dead. As soon as the Red Demon died, those puppet centurions all showed ecstasy, and knelt down on the ground at the same time, thanking Duan Ling Tian repeatedly. Thank you, Lord Duan Ling Tian, for giving me a new life. Thank you, Lord Duan Ling Tian. Once the Red Devil died, the restraints on them puppets also disappeared. Soon more and more golems came out from all over the Red Demon Ridge, knelt down on the ground, and thanked Duan Ling Tian. Many people were so excited that they burst into tears. However, Duan Ling Tian has no time to go to them. Just a moment after he killed the Red Demon, he suddenly noticed a slight movement in the sky. And then, the sky, which was originally clear and cloudless, suddenly became groggy. Countless dark clouds gathered, and purple thunder like electric snakes shuttled through it, as if a heavy rain was about to come. And in an instant, it seemed that an invisible big hand stretched out, pushing the clouds to see the sun. The long-lost text of the Tao of Heaven reappears. Chapter 45-67. At the same time as the words of the Tao of Heaven appeared, the dark clouds that had been fiddled with on both sides turned into a cloud of blood in an instant, and at the same time a rain of blood began to rain. At this moment, in the vast sky, except for the surrounding positions where the words of the Tao of Heaven are located, the rest of the eye-catching places are constantly pouring blood rain. And this is exactly the vision of heaven and earth that appeared after the death of the most powerful Red Demon. The most powerful fell, thousands of miles of blood cloud, blood rain pouring down. Not only Scarlet Demon Ridge, even a large area around Red Demon Ridge was covered by blood rain at this time. This is, the strongest has fallen? The most powerful people in the surrounding area are only the Red Devil of Red Devil Ridge. He is dead? That's the heavenly Tao text? At first, a group of people were shocked by the vision of heaven and earth that appeared when the most powerful person fell, but soon their attention was attracted by the heavenly words that appeared after turning the clouds to see the future. The words of the Tao of Heaven are as golden as before, extremely dazzling, suspended in the sky, giving people a sense of oppression invisibly, which is awe-inspiring. From today, Tongtian Tower no longer has only one entrance, 35 new entrances to Tongtian Tower, 8 more places outside the boundary, 3 for each of the upper 3 realms, and 1 for each of the middle 18 realms. After breaking through the level, after leaving the Tongtian Tower, you will be teleported to a certain realm of 10,000 realms without distinction. This is the heavenly word that is now displayed in places outside the world, and even in front of everyone in the world. Inside the Red Demon Ridge. Seeing the words of the Tao of Heaven, Duan Lingshan's originally calm face darkened in an instant. Although, he had vaguely expected that the heavenly Tao would move in the future, and it was impossible for his master to block the way for those world venerables and saints to obtain the Tian Tao talisman. But I didn't expect it to come so fast. Heaven. With a flash of coldness in his eyes, Duan Ling Tian disappeared in place out of thin air, looking for his master Feng Qingyang. All this happened too suddenly. Need to discuss with master how to deal with it. Should I just watch those people pass through the Tongtian Tower and get the Amulet of Heaven's Tao, or do something to suppress them, so that as few people as possible can get the Talisman of Heaven's Tao? The sudden words of the Tao of Heaven have nothing to do with most people in the outer worlds and 10,000 realms. After all, the Tongtian Pagoda is a trial place for the Tao of Heaven to be open to saints and world venerables. However, For Jezun and Saint, this is undoubtedly great news. Jezun from all walks of life in the upper three realms gathered together in the first place. In the bright light world, the burly Jesuan powerhouse Lei Hong swept away the haze on his face, and his face was full of red light. Everyone, what we need to do now is to find out where the three entrances of the Tongtian Tower are located in our Mingguang realm. Whoever finds it first, pass it on to others. We must enter the Tongtian Tower as soon as possible. It's too late to change. Who knows, will Feng Qingyang, after seeing the words of the Heavenly Tao this time, hate the Heavenly Tao, become angry from embarrassment, and go directly to the Mingguang realm to attack us? Hearing Lei Hong's words, the rest of the world masters in the Mingguang realm also showed serious expressions, thinking that Lei Hong's words made sense. In the Mingguang realm, there must be an existence that surpasses the world venerable, otherwise, wouldn't we have to rely on others all the time? Everyone, looking for the entrance of the Tongtian Tower is urgent. I will go first. When a group of Jesuan from the Mingguang realm began to search for the entrance of the Tongtian Tower in various places in the Mingguang realm, Jesuan from the other two realms of the upper three realms were also in action. They all want to find the entrance of Tongtian Tower as soon as possible. In addition, they were all worried that Feng Qingyang would run over and attack them. Even if they didn't plan to enter Tongtian Tower for the time being, they didn't stay in their old lair. They planned to hide after helping others find the entrance of Tongtian Tower. Wait until there is an existence beyond the realm of respect in the realm where you are, and then come out. Those who can live up to now and have the strength of a world venerable are all human spirits, who have a thorough understanding of human nature, leaving themselves a way out. In the past, Feng Qingyang didn't attack them. Maybe because he was worried that when he left Tongtian Tower and attacked some Jesuan and saints, other Jesuan and saints would take the opportunity to enter Tongtian Tower. Now, Tian Dao opened the entrance of Tongtian Tower again, and there were more than 30 of them. So Feng Qingyang's plan to guard Tongtian Tower and prevent Jesuan and saints from entering failed. They put themselves in the situation. If they were Feng Qingyang, there is a high probability that they would become angry and want to destroy all the saints and world venerables in the land outside the world, and even in the 10,000 worlds, preventing them from having the opportunity to step into the supreme world through the heavenly amulet rewarded in the Tongtian Tower. Strong Seventh Order. Although there are not as many world lords in the middle 18 realms as there are in the upper 3 realms, most realms have more or less 1 or 2 world lords. Like the Nishan realm, those who clearly knew that the former Jesuan had fallen, but still played tricks, were still a minority. Certainly. Even if the news of the demise of the former world venerable is exposed in the current Nishan realm, no one dares to underestimate it, because although it has lost 1 world venerable, it has 2 existences that surpass the world exalted. Those are the 2 strongest people in the world outside the world, and even in the world. Send everyone out, and be sure to find the entrance of Tongtian Tower as soon as possible. The world lords of the 18 realms in China gave orders one after another. At the same time, they didn't dare to stay in their lair any longer, and didn't even join the ranks of searching for the entrance of the Tongtian Tower in their own realm for the time being. Instead, they walked out of their respective realms and got in touch with the other familiar Jesuan of the 18 realms. Wang Xiao, whoever finds the entrance of the Tongtian Tower first on your side, how about notifying each other as soon as possible? Haha, just what I want. Waiting for your good news. Maybe you will find it first. One by one, the Jesuan of the 18 realms reached an agreement with the familiar Jesuan, and cooperated with each other to see who could find the entrance to the Tongtian Tower in their respective realms first. Most of them want to enter Tongtian Tower in the first place. The Jesuan of the middle 18 realms is different from the Jesuan of the upper 3 realms. There are strong and weak Jesuan in the upper 3 realms, and the weaker newly promoted Jesuan feel that there is a stronger one to support them, so they can relax a little bit, don't have to fight so hard and don't need to fight to the death. However, the Jesuan of the 18 realms in China are the pillars of their respective realms, and they all want to take another step forward and achieve supreme prestige. At that time, even if it is the upper 3 realms, they will not be afraid. For the existence of the 2 Transcendence Venerables from the Nishan realm, one of the 18 realms in China, they are envious from the bottom of their hearts. Now that they have a chance, why not give it a try? Moreover, after breaking through the numerous checkpoints in the Tongtian Tower and getting the Talisman of Heaven, it is not necessary to face the taboo realm of catastrophe. When to attract the taboo realm of catastrophe depends entirely on one's own arrangement. Heaven's Tao Talisman can block the 3 taboos of heavenly calamities. I don't know if the Talisman of the Heavenly Tao can be given to each other. If one person holds 6 talismans of the Tao of the Heavenly Tao, wouldn't it be able to block the catastrophe of the 6 realms of taboo? Chapter 4568. It's not just the powerful world venerables from myriad realms who are acting. Even saints from all over the world are taking action. One by one, they order the semi-sages of their respective forces, as well as a group of powerful people, to go out to find a new entrance to the Tongtian Tower, and at the same time they left their lair. I'm afraid of being killed by Feng Qingyang. Within the area of Qingyun's sacred sect, the two saints of Qingyun's sacred sect, Xueqi and Guilin, also saw the heavenly Tao riding. At this time, Xueqi had already arrived at the half-holy faction under the Qingyun sacred sect, the Han family. The half-sage of the Han family, Han Jiang, is one of the two half-sages that Duan Ling Tian asked him to find today. At this time, after Han Jiang came out, recognized him, and saluted him respectfully, before he could make a move, he was attracted by the words of heavenly Tao. Han Jiang is an old man, dressed in brocade clothes, with a resolute face, fierce eyebrows, majestic and extraordinary, and a white beard on his face is even more fierce. However, after he saw the words of heavenly Tao, he immediately saluted Xueqi, who was standing not far in front of him. Senior Zhao, congratulations, you will be able to enter the Tongtian Tower and get the heavenly Tao talisman immediately. At that time, Qingyun Holy Sect will definitely give birth to an existence that surpasses the saint. After finishing speaking, before Xueqi could speak, Han Jiang continued. Senior Zhao, our Han family is willing to search for the entrance of the Tongtian Tower for you. However, after hearing Han Jiang's flattering words, Xueqi, who came back to his senses, suppressed the surprise on his face and looked at Han Jiang indifferently. This glance only made Han Jiang's heart tremble, and his heart was about to burst. What's the situation? This person, who is famous in the Qingyun sect, came to their Han's house in person today, which made him think that his ancestral grave was full of smoke, and he could let the other party come in person. But now, seeing the other party's hostility, he couldn't help being upset. Han Jiang, do you know why I came here? Xueqi stared at Han Jiang and asked indifferently. Although, he now has no choice but to turn around and look for the entrance of the Tongtian Tower immediately. Enter the Tongtian Tower, obtain the talisman of the heavenly Tao, and prepare for surviving the taboo realm in the future. However, thinking of Duan Ling Tian, he quickly dismissed the idea. He must first do what that person told him to do. Otherwise, 3 months later, when the other party came to Qingyun's sacred sect and saw no one, what would he do if he attacked Qingyun's sacred sect in a fit of rage? Could it be that he could make a further breakthrough at that time and step into the 7th level of Xian? It's impossible to think about it. Even if you enter the Tongtian Tower, you are not guaranteed to be able to get the talisman of the heavenly Tao. At the beginning, the text of the Tao of the heavenly Tao clearly stated that Jezun and a saint entered the Tongtian Tower, but they were only expected to get the talisman of the Tao of heaven. You don't have to get the heavenly Tao talisman. Han Jiang doesn't know. Please ask Senior Zhao to clarify. Han Jiang took a deep breath and spoke nervously. Because the Han family was far away from the Fu family, even though there was a lot of movement on the Fu family side, and 2 half-saints died in a row, the news hadn't reached his ears yet. Of course, this is also because Xueqi came to the Han family immediately after returning to the Qingyun sacred sect after the Fu family's affairs were settled. Han Jiang didn't have time to get the news from there. You, the 2 half-sages of the Fu family, and what Tuoba Lianqing did, don't you know? Xueqi sneered, and without waiting for Han Jiang's response, he waved his hand, and a powerful force swept out, imprisoning the semi-holy Han Jiang in a blink of an eye. Then, she took Han Jiang with her and left the Han family. Whoosh! At an extremely fast speed, rush back to Qingyun's sacred sect. After taking Han Jiang back, he will order people to find the entrance of Tongtian Tower, and then he must go out himself to try to find the entrance of Tongtian Tower as quickly as possible. Senior Zhao, why did you imprison me? Han Jiang, who was imprisoned by Xueqi, completely sank in his heart. This feeling of uncontrollable life and death made him feel a little desperate. He already saw that the other party was not kind, but he still wanted to know, why did the other party treat him like this? Snort! Xueqi snorted coldly while walking. Didn't you hear clearly what I just said? At this time, Han Jiang had time to appreciate Xueqi's words just now. Just now, as soon as Xueqi's words fell, before he had time to react, he was taken away from Han Jiang by Xueqi, so that he had no time to appreciate those words carefully. Now, recalling that sentence again, the first thing he thought of was that many years ago, he and Tuoba Lianqing were called away by the Mingyao semi-sage of the Fu family, Fu Liangming, to the semi-sacred Duan Yue from the Duan family of Bibo Tianfu. Shoot and kill Duan Yue. Is it possible? This senior Zhao, is he old with that Duan Yue? Apart from this incident, he couldn't think of anything else he did with the half-sage of the Fu family and Tuo Lianqing. That time was also the first time he saw Tuo Lianqing. Although he had heard of the other party's name a long time ago, he didn't know him. The last time he met the other party was through the introduction of Fu Liangming, the semi-sage of the Fu family. Senior Zhao, are you going to stand up for that? Yue half-sage? After Han Jiang figured this out, his face turned pale immediately, but he quickly started to save himself. Senior Mingjian, that incident was entirely caused by Fu Liangming. I owe him a favor. That time he came to me and asked me to pay him back. Let me join forces with him to deal with Yue Banxing. However, Yue Banxing died in his hands in the end. Senior, please enlighten me. Hearing Han Jiang's words, Zhao Ani was taken aback for a moment, then frowned and asked, Half-Saint Yu Yi? Is there such a demi-saint within Qingyun's sacred sect? Senior, isn't that what you asked? Seeing that Zhao Ani didn't seem to know Yu Yi Banshang, Han Jiang couldn't help being taken aback. Yu Yi Banshang is the half-saint of the Duan family of the half-holy force under Bibo Tianfu, named Duan Yue. Duan Yue. Hearing Han Jiang's words, Zhao Ani suddenly realized. Last name Duan. And that one is also surnamed Duan. I see. Han Jiang, do you know that before I went to find you, the two half-sages of the Fu family were already dead? Zhao Ani said calmly. What? Han Jiang's face changed drastically, and his eyes showed horror. Who is it? Who killed them? Hearing this, he faintly realized that Zhao Ani personally came to arrest him, and mentioned the things he, Fu Liangming and Tuo Lianqing did together. Most likely it was because of the death of the former Yue Banxing. And the Fu family, like their Han family, is a semi-holy force under the Qingyun sacred sect. Zhao Ani, as one of the two great saints of the Qingyun sacred sect, and the most powerful one, not only did he not stand up for the Fu family, but also came to the Han family to arrest him? Could it be that Duan Yue is old with other saints? Thinking of this, Han Jiang felt desperate. Chapter 45-69. Also, I guess he is not an ordinary saint. Thinking of this, Han Jiang became even more desperate. And the reason why he thinks this way is because Zhao Enya's status in Qingyun sacred sect is too high. He is the #1 person in Qingyun sacred sect. If he can personally go out to capture him, how can the people behind him be ordinary saints? After 3 months, you will naturally see that person. Zhao Ani spoke calmly, not bothering to explain to Han Jiang. From the ending of the half-sage of the Fu family, it is not difficult to see that it is absolutely impossible for Mr. Duan Lingtian to spare Han Jiang's life. Senior Zhao. Han Jiang was frightened to the extreme, trembling in his heart, and begged. Can you see me and even the Han family have been working hard for Qingyun Shengzong and give me a way out? If Senior is willing to give me a way out, Han Jiang will spare no effort to work for Senior in the future. He is not stupid either. The two half-sages of the Fu family are dead. If he is brought back by Zhao Ani, he will definitely have no way out, and I am afraid he can only live for 3 months at most. That was not what he wanted. Now, he only hoped that the person in front of him would spare him. In his opinion, even if the other party is a powerful saint, as long as Zhao Ani is willing to protect him, he can still be protected. After all, Zhao Ani is also a veteran saint, and saints whose strength can be seen outside the world are all top-ranked existences. Unfortunately, he never dreamed of. The person who forced Zhao Ani to arrest him would be in existence above the saint. If he knew, he would never have promised Fu Liangming of the Fu family to snipe and kill Duan Yue, the half-sage of Yu Yi. Zhao Ani, who ignored Han Jiang and even felt that Han Jiang was annoying, even sealed Han Jiang's mouth and consciousness, and he couldn't even transmit the sound, but at the same time he also received a summons. It was his nephew Guilin who sent the message. Uncle, Tuo Lianqing is not in his training ground, and at the same time I saw the text of heaven. I got some clues about the whereabouts of Tuo Lianqing. Next, I should go to find the entrance of the Tongtian Tower first, or go to the Tuo Lianqing. Guilin asked. The words of Heaven's Tao are related to the new entrance of Tongtian Tower, which is very important to his uncle Zhao Anlin. On the contrary, he, even a saint, is not very sure that he can pass the test of the Tongtian Tower and get the Heavenly Tao amulet. Moreover, even if he got the Heavenly Tao talisman, he could not step into the Forbidden Realm for the time being. Although his fire law has comprehended the state of Dzogchen, the Tao of the Sword has just stepped into the 6th level when he broke through to become a saint last time, and there is still a long way to go from the 7th level. If you want to step into the Taboo Realm, you must have a law of great perfection, a 7th level of the 4 ways of heaven and earth. This is the most basic threshold. However, although he was not in a hurry, he had to think about his uncle. You go to Tuoba Lianqing. On Zhao Enya's side, he quickly responded to Guilin. I will arrange for people to search for the entrance of Tongtian Tower. I will take Han Jiang back to the sect now. After I go back and make arrangements, I will also go out to find the entrance of Tongtian Tower myself. Within 3 months, you must bring Tuoba Lianqing back to the sect. Zhao Enya's tone was extraordinarily dignified in the last sentence of the interrogation. Although I can attract the Taboo Realm's catastrophe at any time, if I'm not prepared, even if I have 3 heavenly talismans, I'm not very sure. Also, for the time being, I don't know how difficult it is to get the Heavenly Dao Talisman in Tongtian Tower, and I don't necessarily have to get the Heavenly Dao Talisman. We can't afford to offend Duan Ling Tian. Hearing this, Guilin quickly responded that he would definitely bring Tuoba Lianqing back to Qingyun's sacred sect within 3 months. After Zhao Ani brought Han Jiang back to Qingyun's sacred sect, he immediately imprisoned him by means, and at the same time sent a semi-sacred guard who was not weaker than him. You must keep an eye on him. If he escapes, the sect may be in danger. Zhao Ani said to the half-sage he had arranged, that this half-sage is his disciple and he can be completely trusted, but he still gave a serious order. Master, don't worry, unless I die, he can't leave the sect. The half-saint respectfully responded. If he wants to escape, you can kill him, but the body must be well preserved. At least 3 months later, people can see his appearance clearly and see that he was a semi-holy before he died. Zhao Ani added a sentence. And these words fell into Han Jiang's ears, and Han Jiang's complexion became paler with fright. He knew in his heart that whether he would survive in the future would depend entirely on the mood of the saint who came to the door 3 months later. However, he is already mentally prepared, and when the time comes, he will put all the responsibility on Fu Liangming of the Fu family. He is just paying Fu Liangming a favor, and if the other party can spare his life, he is willing to be a slave for the maid. In this way, the other party may not necessarily kill him. After arranging Han Jiang, Zhao Ani began to give orders to let most of the semi-sages in the sect go out to inquire about the news of the new Tongtian Tower entrance. At the same time, he also planned to leave. However, what he didn't expect was that, before he left Qingyun's sacred sect's region, there would be a strong man from outside the domain who came across the domain and directly sent a message to greet him and communicate with him. The person who came was the sage from Bibo Tianfu who never saw his end, and was also his old friend. Many people thought that this old guy was dead, but they didn't expect that he was still alive. This old guy is older than him, and the last 10,000-year catastrophe almost killed him. Xiao Zhao, have you seen the text of Heaven's Tao? If you have any news about the entrance of the new Tongtian Tower, please let me know immediately. After that, everyone should remove the sound barrier. The old voice transmission reached Zhao Enya's ears. As for Zhao Ani, after hearing what the old man said, he smiled wryly. He had so many things to arrange, but he completely forgot about it. Old Meng, thanks to your reminder, otherwise I would have forgotten about the sound transmission barrier. In the land outside the boundary, there are not only formations to isolate the sound transmission, so that the sound transmission from the outer domain is not allowed to enter the edge of the area ruled by the major saint forces. The sound transmission on my side can't get out either. Now the strong man in Bibo Tianfu has just crossed the region, so that he can be contacted by sound transmission. Well, if there is any news from my side, I will contact you as soon as possible. Old Meng said. Next, I will go out and look around in person to see if I can find the entrance of Tongtian Tower. There was a bit of urgency in the tone. As for the other party's urgency for the entrance to Tongtian Tower, Zhao Ani can understand. After all, if you can't go further and step into the 7th level of Xion, the next 10,000 years of catastrophe will be the death of the other party. I remember. This one in Bibo Tianfu, the last 10,000 years tribulation was ushered in 9,000 years ago, right? No wonder you're so impatient. If there is no way to go further, he will not have 1,000 years to live. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.